The story kicks off in a training gym, where snappy moves echo across the court floor. Two fists clash hard during a seriously intense brawl. Su-hong presses his sparring buddy, landing a rapid combo against his defense. Stepping back in pain, the other guy complains that the last hit hurt like crazy. Impressed, he notices his friend's improvement and asks about his technique level. But Su-hong drops the mix, saying he hit subtle mastery 2 days ago. This subtlety is the third of the 5 power levels in this world's martial arts. Hype the friend gives a thumbs up and guarantees nobody in class can even touch the MC in this specific move. Wasting 0 time, our boy gets right back into a fighting stance, asking if recess is over so they can throw hands again. His buddy bolts for the locker room, calling him a total maniac and saying he's going home to grab some grub. On his way out, the guy waves bye to Professor Lee, who tells him to put some proper clothes on before wandering around. The instructor then walks up to Su-hong and brings up his martial division application. He asks why he hasn't paid the 30,000 yuan fee yet, since the deadline is coming up next Monday. The kid tries to ask for a few more days, but the teacher pities his family's financial struggles and reminds him that rules are rules. A heavy silence totally takes over the room after that flat-out rejection. Standing all alone in the middle of a giant court, the harsh reality of the kid's situation hits hard. Now by himself, the boy punches the air in pure frustration, stressing nonstop about the 30,000 yuan he desperately needs to scrape together. He flashes back to when he lost his folks during a wild beast incident at just 3 years old. Ever since, he was taken in by his aunt and uncle, who bet everything on his training the second they noticed his natural fighting talent. After all, in this era overrun by terrifying monsters, martial artists are the folks raking in the most duff in the world. Even though he trains to give them a better life, the kid feels a massive burden, thinking he's just making things harder for his own family. Later on, night falls over the humble apartment complex where our boy lives. Standing right outside his door, he overhears his uncle suggesting they delay rent so they can cover their nephew's entrance fee first. The man believes in Su-hong's potential so much that he refuses to be a roadblock in the kid's bright future. The aunt even suggests skipping her own meds to save cash, but her husband shuts that down and promises to pick up an extra gig to pay the bills. Listening to all this quiet sacrifice from the hallway, the MC's heart completely shatters. He gives his own cheeks a couple of slaps to snap out of the gloom and fix his posture before walking into the living room. Faking a smile like everything's fine, he greets his family, and his aunt immediately fusses over how exhausted he looks from training so late. They practically shove the kid toward his bedroom, babying him so he can recharge his batteries for the next day. The late hours roll by as the pale moonlight hits his quiet bedroom window. Tossing and turning in bed, he decides his aunt and uncle have done way too much already, and that he's fixing this money issue himself. Brainstorming a quick way to score tens of thousands of coins in just a few days, Su-hong figures there's really only one way out. The next morning, the sunlight bounces off the imposing front of a downtown building. Welcome to the Underground Fight Club, where the announcer hypes up the crowd for a brutal, no-holds-barred challenge where only pulling off a win keeps you breathing. In the center of the ring, the host introduces the current arena superstar, a dude known as Minotaur. Rocking a red-horned mask, the MC locks his eyes on the 60,000 prize money reserved for whoever bags 4 straight wins. Up in the stands, the crowd totally trashes the masked rookie, thinking he's booking a one-way ticket to snooze town by taking on this crazy challenge. The organizer nudges the kid and tells him to hype the crowd, leaving him totally clueless on how to even do that. Annoyed by his rookie vibes, she schools him, saying he needs to talk some serious trash to get the gambler's attention. Getting the memo, he puffs out his chest and screams that he's unbeatable against anyone below an official martial artist rank. The trash talk works like a charm, making the audience furious and itching to see the newbie get absolutely wrecked in the ring. Loving the chaos, the host finally kicks off the match while the entire gym demands the MC gets sent packing. Keeping his cool, the boy analyzes the aggressive vibe of the room and trusts his special technique will secure his tuition money. Right out the gate, a massive myth head lunges at Su-hong, promising to teach the cocky rookie a lesson. Reading the charge like a book, the MC spots holes in the guy's stance and figures this is going to be a walk in the park. The enemy swings a heavy haymaker, trashing the kid for looking spaced out in the middle of a do or die showdown. Without breaking a sweat, Su-hong smoothly dodges the attack at the very last second. Taking full advantage of the wide, open guard, he counters with a flawless strike right to the big guy's jaw. Thanks to the devastating impact, his opponent gets launched backward through the air like a literal ragdoll. The giant hits the canvas out cold, and the host immediately calls the first win for our masked hero. The crowd is absolutely shook by how easy that knockout was, flipping their mood from pure disrespect to total shock. A new, scar-covered challenger steps into the ring, claiming the rookie's lucky streak ends right here, right now. Cocky as ever, the MC tells the guy to bring it on, wanting to use this big dude to test the max damage of his special punch. With that, the muscular blonde charges in full throttle, launching a fierce attack straight at the kid. The two clash fists with insane brutality, creating a shockwave that completely sweeps the court. Despite feeling the crazy pressure of the hit, the enemy thinks his raw physical strength is still way beyond the newbies. But absorbing the hit like it's nothing, the kid perfectly lands a rapid counter right in the Mythiad's face. He notices the opponent's over. The top stance left his waist area completely wide open for a finisher. Wasting no time, our hero sinks his fist into the enemy's gut with some absolutely ridiculous, concentrated power. The hit is so brutal it launches the blonde to the other side of the arena, leaving everyone's jaws on the floor at the sheer force of the attack. Another body hits the floor, and the hyped-up organizer screams out the hero's second consecutive win. The flashy screen outside the club keeps pulling people off the street to watch the spectacular brawl going down inside. Up in the VIP section, a bunch of rich dudes watch the show, pointing out that the kid is terrifyingly strong for someone with no official rank. The announcer calls the third straight win, making the suits start plotting how to use the boy to rig future matches. The big boss tells his lackey to go recruit the kid right in the ring, but warns him to hide his own advanced strength during the fight. Meanwhile, catching his breath in the center of the arena, the hero figures his refined technique is just too much for average fighters in this division. Staring down the final stretch, he gets pumped knowing he only needs one more knockout to bag that 60,000 cash prize. Out of nowhere, a fighter in a suit wearing a white fox mask shows up, leaving everyone totally confused by the interruption. The crowd instantly recognizes the suit is pretty much at a master tier, calling this fight a total scam against the kid. Realizing this guy is a way bigger threat, the MC grits his teeth and swears there's no way he can afford to lose this. On the flip side, the suited opponent keeps a cocky stance, completely confident in his ridiculous advantage. Looking totally chill, the bad guy adjusts his outfit and makes it very clear he's in full control of his top-tier skills. The two square up face to face, kicking off the final round for the giant cash prize. The second the match starts, they rush each other in a super aggressive clash right in the middle of the gym. Knowing he's totally outclassed in levels, the kid decides to dump all his energy into the very first strike to try and catch him off guard. Their fists finally collide in an insane explosion, shaking the whole arena from the crushing impact of that final showdown. Feeling the ridiculous force of the hit, Su-hong instantly realizes this enemy's strength isn't from some average brawler. He immediately gets that the suit is a real, deal martial artist who's holding back his power on purpose. Across from him, the fox-masked rival takes a breath and winds up his ultimate technique. Wasting no time, the villain goes all out and lands a devastating combo straight onto the MC. The shock is so intense that the kid spits red, absolutely stunned by the raw power of this level. Up in the bleachers, the crowd recognizes the advanced move and pretty much writes the rookie off as a goner. Pressing the attack nonstop, the suit mocks the situation and tells the kid to stop blocking and actually fight. Our hero puts 100% of his focus into blocking the heavy hits, knowing if he keeps this up he's gonna lose big time. Using the bad guy's aggression against him, he waits patiently for the absolute perfect second to land a counter. Right then, the opponent throws another heavy punch that stops right on the MC's tight guard. Taking advantage of the gap created by being so close, Su-hong fires his own fist at top speed. The flawless strike hits the suit right on the money, launching his body to the other side of the ring. Even though he landed the hit, the kid is completely drained and feels himself about to pass out. But the villain just lands easily on his feet and sarcastically drops the bomb that the prize money for this fight is exactly 0. He suggests the rookie agrees to throw his bites in exchange for the cash, but Su-hong instantly rejects the shady deal. The masked dude tells him to think it over, guaranteeing that saying no will bring some seriously heavy consequences. Not backing down an inch, the MC roasts the enemy's cowardly attitude and questions if they're even real martial artists. Pure annoyance takes over the suited guy's face as he finally gets the kid's hard no. At that moment, the villain charges in with pure rage, promising to end the rookie once and for all. But with eyes shining full of determination, Su-hong focuses on his ultimate goal of reaching the top of the martial arts world. The suit throws an aggressive flying kick, but our hero slides quickly across the floor to dodge it. Suddenly, a mysterious vibe wraps around the boy and a voice asks if he's willing to pay the toll, to which he agrees to give it his all. In the blink of an eye, the entire scene vanishes and the MC finds himself floating in a pitch-black space. Totally confused by the sudden switch up, he looks around trying to figure out what kind of bizarre place this is. Right in front of him, a massive glowing entity pops out of nowhere, lighting up the whole void. The towering figure stares the boy down and states it's gonna grant him the chance he's been desperately looking for. With that promise, an intense light slices through the room, turning the dark void into a golden hall. Just then, a massive holographic screen floats up and parks right in front of our amazed hero. Taking a closer look, he realizes the panel is showing all his physical stats and the techniques he knows. Hooked on the tech, he tries tapping the glowing interface to figure out how this weird system works. The boy then selects the first available quest on the bright panel just to test the waters. The screen explains that time in the real world is totally frozen while he trains here to perfect his moves. He gets curious about the promised reward just as an identical glowing clone starts materializing right next to him. Giving him zero time to think, the perfect copy drops into a fighting stance with crazy speed. The clone throws a violent punch that tears through the air, showing off some terrifying mastery of the technique. Studying the movement, the kid notices the copy is using his very own special punch, but absolutely flawlessly. Super hyped by the showcase, he sees this as a golden ticket to perfect his personal style. Without missing a beat, the hero clenches his fist and fires the exact same attack, trying to mimic the clone's precision. The two start training side by side, with the boy mirroring every single detail of the glowing copy's form. But during a rapid combo, the MC messes up his guard and ends up eating dirt in the practice round. Even after the fail, the glowing copy steps back to its starting stance, waiting for the kid's next attempt. Checking the panel, he gets a jump scare seeing his proficiency in the move has already spiked to 10%. That's when it finally clicks that this virtual space is the ultimate cheat code to level up his skills in a flash. Determined to squeeze every drop out of this system, the boy rushes the clone in a chaotic flurry of blows. The hardcore training rolls on with our hero spamming attacks until he's breathless, while the numbers on the screen just keep ticking up. The MC's stubborn grind pushes his mastery of his techniques closer and closer to max level. Right then, he pulls off a flawless palm strike, hitting total mastery of the move in a burst of pure energy. Immediately after, the kid speeds up his footwork across the golden hall and completely masters his movement technique. To top it all off, he lands an ultimate punch on the clone, maxing out his main weapon. With every skill totally maxed out, he stands panting the middle of the room, feeling the burn of that extreme workout. Loving the results, the boy thanks the copy, and the panel asks if he wants to head back to the real world. In a flash, time unfreezes in the arena and our hero pops back in, staring down the suited villain. Clueless to what just happened, the enemy talks trash about the kid's silence and throws another lightning, fast punch right at his face. Riding the momentum, the suit unleashes a brutal combo of electric attacks, trying to crush his rival's guard. However, the MC dodges the hits with ridiculous ease, finding the enemy's speed totally pathetic now. The fox, masked villain, starts sweating bullets, absolutely shook that he's just punching thin air. Flexing his new mastery, our hero sinks a devastating punch straight into the opponent's face, completely shattering his mask. The force of the impact is so monstrous that the young fighter's dominant presence totally takes over the court. The sheer violence of the counter attack leaves the entire audience in dead silence and pure disbelief. With the suit knocked out cold on the floor, the masked rookie stands tall, claiming absolute victory in the arena. Breaking the heavy tension, the champ looks right at the host and demands the cash prize he just rightfully earned. Up in the VIP section, the rich boss holds a glass of wine, totally blown away by the advanced technical mastery of a mere rookie. Super interested in the kid's talent, the boss orders his security to tail the fighter and figure out who he really is. While our hero is just taking a chill walk through the dark city alleys, heading back home. With his senses dialed up, he quickly picks up on the vibe of some shady dudes tailing him down the empty street. The lackeys sneak up to the dark corner, only to realize their target has completely vanished into thin air. The guys look around nervously, knowing they have to finish the boss's job no matter what. Way up above them, the MC is chilling on the alley walls, roasting their pathetic attempt at tracking him. After totally ditching the spies, the quiet night settles over his humble apartment complex. An hour later, the lights in his family's tiny place flip on, confirming the young fighter made it back safe and sound. In the living room, his uncle's eyes pop out of his head, looking at the massive pile of cash on the table, asking if his nephew robbed a bank. To keep his family from freaking out, the kid makes up a story that the dojo master was blown away by his talent and sponsored the cash. The next day, the school routine is back to normal with a packed gym full of students ready for morning practice. In the middle of the crowd, classmates are whispering and gossiping, trying to figure out why one of the students showed up looking so beat up. Some kid spills the tea that the guy broke some equipment and took the fall for it, while the principal yells for everyone to shut up. Up on the gym stage, the principal introduces Chen Tian, a rank 3 martial artist brought in to teach a rank C technique called Thunder Fist. The students are hyped to see a master of that level, whispering about how dojos charge an arm and a leg to teach this outside of school. Watching the scene, Suhong remembers the masked villain used this exact same move and respects how crazy strong that impact was. Knowing the insane fees charged out in the real world, the MC decides he absolutely cannot let this huge opportunity slip by. The master cuts the chatter, announcing he'll demonstrate the move 10 times, and the rest is purely up to their own hustle. With that, the instructor steps forward, dropping into a flawless combat stance. He throws a violent punch, explaining that the technique is fierce and, at the basic level, lets out a loud crack of thunder. Continuing his lesson, he details that the proficient level creates 3 sounds, and the subtle level hits 5 consecutive sonic booms. Releasing some crazy energy into the gym, Chen Tian brags that his current mastery is at the master tier, dropping 7 sounds per hit. He brings up that the perfect realm hits 9 sounds, but warns the kids not to dream too big, since just getting the basics is more than enough. Starting the second showcase, the master tells the class to follow along, kicking off a total mess of students trying to copy his poses. Several hours later, the crowd collapses on the floor purely from exhaustion, whining that getting the hang of this technique is completely impossible. One of the guys sits on the court panting, depressed that rank C skills are just way too hard to learn. Looking around for his buddy, he notices Suhong has randomly disappeared, right as a massive boom echoes through the entire building. Totally pumped, the student Chen Shan celebrates hitting the basic level, while his classmates hype him up for being super smart. The principal glazes the kid, calling him the school genius, but the master just scoffs, thinking those results are barely acceptable by his standards. The conversation spills over outside the main school facility. Chen Tian complains that the class is way too weak and that he wasted his time, since just getting the basics down doesn't make anyone a real prodigy. Walking through the courtyard, he doubles down that martial cultivation is brutal and hard work alone never beats a lack of natural talent. Out of nowhere, a rapid-fire string of violent sonic booms stops the teachers dead in their tracks. Nearby, Suhong is training solo and totally shocks someone watching when a mere student manages to pull off 7 sounds. Throwing punches nonstop, the MC hits 9 sounds, leaving the master absolutely flabbergasted at that level of mastery in so little time. The teachers are frozen stiff listening to the explosions from the court, while the principal asks if he just hallucinated hearing 9 ridiculous impacts. Riding high on this discovery, the master claims he finally gets the missing piece to his own personal training. He clenches his fist, sparking up pure, destructive energy right in his hands. Without a second thought, he fires off the technique with a fresh burst of energy and surprising aggression. Super stoked about hitting 8 sounds, he thanks the student for the inspiration that helped him break his Play-Doh after being stuck for so long. Ignoring the chit-chat, Chen Tian takes off sprinting across the courtyard like a madman to find out who this mystery prodigy is. But when they get to the empty training court, they're left scratching their heads looking for whoever pulled off that crazy stunt. Far away from there, the kid is already running through the streets totally gassed, feeling the heavy toll on his body from practicing such an advanced move. Checking the pop-ups on his system, our hero notices he maxed out the technique and figures he needs some friendly sparring matches to farm martial points. Sticking to his speed run evolution plan, he rocks up to the imposing entrance of the Furious Thunder Dojo downtown. Inside, it's pure chaos with students aggressively trading loud hits using training spears and staffs. A classmate walks up asking why he's dropping by out of nowhere, and the kid just chills and says he came to get some practice in. Right then, some cocky purple-haired fighter kicks a student in the chest, violently launching the poor guy into the wooden floor. The bully roasts the losers, telling them to stop blaming the master's classes and just accept that they're too weak to learn how to fight. Suhong asks what the heck is going on, and the buddy explains the new instructor is strong but teaches like he doesn't care and completely looks down on the broke kids. He also nervously warns him that this guy's disciple, Lian, is crazy dangerous and shows zero mercy in spars. Overhearing the side convo, the purple-haired punk tries to provoke our hero, doubting he's got what it takes to handle a real challenge. With absolutely zero warning, the jerk lunges in, throwing a fast punch straight for the newcomer's face. The MC blocks the hit like it's the easiest thing in the world and politely asks the rival to drop the drama right there. Ticked off by the solid block, Lian tells him to throw hands and challenges him to a one-on-one in the arena, which the kid accepts in a heartbeat. Just as things get tense, the arrogant master walks in demanding absolute silence because his class is about to start. Following the boss's orders, the disciple backs off slowly, warning the newbie that he got insanely lucky to dodge a beatdown this time. Looking at the cocky attitude of both instructors, our hero gets super annoyed by the ridiculous amount of arrogance stinking up the dojo. The jerk master announces with a superiority complex that this is the final day for the spear technique, and he's only showing it once. With an incredibly smooth and precise spin, he executes the move, slicing the air in front of a totally focused class. Perfectly copying the stance he just saw, Su-hong tests out the weapon and instantly hits the proficient level via his system. The tip of the kid's spear obliterates the tough training dummy with a clean, fast, and completely devastating impact. Shook by the ridiculous progress of a total rookie, Li Yan goes on the offensive, swinging his own spear with pure hate. The two weapons aggressively clash in mid-air, sparking intense energy all over the packed training hall. Getting fresh points on his glowing panel, the hero celebrates, confirming that friendly spars pay out the exact rewards he needs. Totally outclassed in the exchange, the rival drops to his knees, muttering that it's physically impossible for someone to master the move that fast. Panic completely takes over the fighter as he thinks all his years of blood, sweat, and tears were completely useless. Completely losing his mind, he drops the broken spear and charges in bare-handed, trying to hit the MC however he can. The boy wins up a clean punch to end the fight for good, but the instructor screams in a panic, demanding they stop right now. The master rushes to the center of the court, breaking up the nasty brawl before things go from bad to worse. Showing zero pity, the older guy slaps the taste out of his disciple's mouth, chewing him out hard for not knowing how to take an L. The bully turns his face away, feeling the sting of the hit and the crushing weight of getting publicly humiliated in front of everyone. Looking at the spear stuck in the wooden floor, the teacher admits he's impressed the rookie learned it all just by watching him do it once. Flipping his attitude real quick, the master apologizes for the mess and says getting beat by a true genius will build some serious character for his student. The MC starts sweating, clearly seeing through the fake vibes and how fast this teacher switches up, just when it's convenient. Walking back home through the empty night streets, he feels super heavy, but admits today's grind was totally worth it. Checking out his new rewards floating on the system, the young guy is hyped to have picked up 2 fresh techniques in one go. The next day in front of school, he figures he desperately needs an alloy weapon to level the playing field against the rich kids in the practical exam. Shadow, boxing a firm grip on an invisible spear, he decides he's going to invest in some piercing gear for the test. But checking his bank app, he realizes his cash barely covers his aunt's expensive meds, meaning buying the weapon is a no-go. Standing outside some random shop, the boy racks his brain, trying to find a quick side hustle to fund his training. He then spots a flyer in the window looking for gutsy martial artists to hunt beasts in the outskirts in exchange for massive payouts. Hooked by the crazy amount of cash offered, he seriously considers risking his neck fighting terrifying monsters outside the city walls. Afternoon rolls in nicely, painting the windows of his family's apartment complex with a chill orange sunset vibe. In the living room, the aunt gets on her husband's case for working non-stop, but he insists they gotta save every penny for their nephew's future. Walking in right in the middle of the bickering, the hero greets his folks, killing the tension and breaking up the loving couple's little argument. He grabs the heavy groceries from her hands, telling her to go chill on the couch, showing total respect and unconditional love for his family. The kid firmly insists he can totally pay the bills by himself now, but his uncle just laughs, slaps his shoulder, and says he can't sit around doing nothing. The uncle flashes a smile and gives a thumbs up, promising he won't work himself to death doing odd jobs. Adding to that, the aunt sweetly mentions they need to save as much as humanly possible for their nephew's bright future. Staring at his phone, Su-hong thinks about how his family is so used to being broke that they'll never relax unless there's cash in the bank. He coldly concludes he absolutely cannot pass up this golden opportunity to farm cash fast by hunting beasts. Knowing how insanely dangerous the wild zones are, the kid decides to dump all his saved points into vitality just to stay safe. With heavy energy rushing through his veins, he notices he's just one step away from officially becoming a real martial artist. 2 full days of hardcore training go by, and the MC finally hits perfection on every single one of his techniques. Panning from the non-stop grind, he realizes his prep is finally done, and it's time to make moves. That same Saturday morning, the kid rocks up to the massive martial artist base, thinking the walk over was kinda tiring. Strolling through the place, he mentions he's seen this building on TV a million times, but it's his first time here in person. The spot is totally packed with massive, armed fighters, the kind of folks you almost never bump into around the city. Scanning the holographic board at the desk, our hero finds out that advanced beasts can pay out up to 9,000 blue coins. But he thinks the bounty system is kinda nasty and primitive, since you gotta hack off the monster's ear as proof of the kill. Waiting in the line at the counter, the rookie watches a hunter hand over a massive, stuffed bag for the clerk to appraise. Suddenly, an aggressive shout echoes through the crowded lobby, telling everyone to get the heck out of the way immediately. With that, the MC spots a cocky group walking up, and the crowd instantly recognizes the presence of the young Master Yi. Staring down the rich kid in the suit, he catches a familiar vibe and instantly remembers the white fox mask guy from the underground fight club. The crowd gossips about how this rich kid's uncle got completely wrecked a few days ago, and the boy finds it hilarious, thinking it was well-deserved. Not wanting to start drama this early, the hero turns around and sneaks off in the opposite direction. Behind him, the cocky rich kid smirks, acting like he smells something fishy in the air. Out in the dangerous wild zone, a giant white wolf lunges fiercely, trying to turn the off-guard rookie into a snack. Keeping totally chill, Su-hong slides quickly across the ground, dodging the lethal attack at the absolute last second. He focuses his energy in his hand, winding up the thunder technique to max power for a counter. Taking advantage of the beast's wide, open guard, the kid sinks his electric fist right into the wolf's body with ridiculous violence. The impact launches the monster into the air, making it crash hard into a faraway tree across the forest. Checking out the downed carcass, our hero realizes hunting monsters in real life is way more hype than he thought. Shaking from pure adrenaline, the rookie checks his own fists, feeling the rush of victory pumping through his veins. Since he dropped the beast with a single basic hit, the urge to test his strength against something scarier takes over. Right on cue, a massive mid-tier black bear pops up behind him, letting out a deafening roar. Without losing his cocky vibe, the MC handles business fast and decides that monsters at this level are basically zero threat. Crouched next to the furry bear carcass, he chops off its ear, celebrating a guaranteed 3,000 in the bag. The system then chimes, letting him know he's finally got enough points to officially become a real deal martial artist. Suddenly, a terrifying, powerful roar echoes through the dense forest, giving the kid a total jump scare. Feeling an insanely heavy aura spreading out, the hero starts sweating bullets, trying to guess what kind of freak monster is nearby. Driven by curiosity, the fighter hops nimbly across the thick tree branches to go check out what all the fuss is about. Landing super quietly on top of a tall rock, the rookie peeks into the clearing to scope out the tense situation below. Pure shock hits his face the second he recognizes the ridiculous creature totally trashing the whole area. A massive black jade python is violently attacking a cornered squad of hunters right in the middle of the woods. The freakish snake charges in full force, crushing the shield of a warrior who is screaming in absolute panic. Thanks to the monstrous force of the hit, the poor dude gets launched like a rock straight into the cliff face. Seeing the whole thing going south, the purple-haired squad leader screams, desperate orders to hold the line. He jumps in bravely, launching a piercing attack with his spear against the wild beast's tough scales. But the snake is way faster, whipping its thick tail and sweeping the ground with insane violence. Caught completely off guard by the crazy fast defense, the leader can't dodge and eats a brutal hit to the body. The impact kicks up a massive cloud of dust while the beast keeps smashing the terrain with zero mercy. The squad leader hits the dirt critically injured, while the kid watches the whole mess, hiding tense up on the rock. Judging the nasty situation, the MC wipes his face and makes a risky call to try and jump into the bloodbath. He sneaks his way down to the busted ground and borrows the spear from the knocked out hunter's hands. Gripping the weapon like his life depends on it, the hero steps right into the snake's line of sight, getting the monster's attention. Pissed off by this bold new snack, the giant snake unhinges its jaw and lunges in for a lethal strike. Flexing his newly upgraded agility, Su-hong backflips fast, dodging the jaws that completely shatter the ground. Backing up to a safe distance, the boy thinks to himself that he'd need an entire squad to take out a beast this advanced. Still, trusting his maxed out techniques 100%, he knows he can throw down if he plays it super smart. Using his perfect tier void step, the young guy pulls off a ridiculous jump, sailing right over the snake's attack. From way up there, he spins mid-air and fires off a flawless spear strike, loaded with heavy blue energy. The sharp tip hits the beast's thick scales, kicking off intense, bright sparks, but it fails to cut too deep. Feeling the heavy pressure of a direct hit, the black jade python lets out a high, pitched hiss of pure rage. The giant monster twists its massive body super fast, trying to crush the cocky hunter while he's still in the air. The kid grips the wooden handle super tight, prepping his next emergency dodge. He sticks the landing perfectly, totally safe and wrapped in his flawless combat aura. Ready for round 2. Giving the monster absolutely zero time to catch its breath, the hero locks eyes and invites the beast to get aggressive again. He channels every ounce of energy into his spear and unleashes a violent thrust, spawning a destructive water tornado. The brutal impact hits dead on, making the giant snake writhe in crazy pain right there in the clearing. Freaking out from the damage, the snake whips its tail like a maniac, smashing rocks while the kid dodges the heavy swings. Sliding across the dirt field, he figures the size difference is total BS and he needs to gas the beast out first. A massive shadow suddenly covers the boy, and he drops low, scraping his back on the dirt to dodge the lethal tail. Spotting a tiny but precious opening, the MC goes bare, handed and fires a thunder punch right on target. The second the electric hit deals damage, he grabs his weapon back and backs up fast, putting a solid chunk of space between him and the enemy. Keeping his strategy cold and calculated, the young guy repeats the cycle of hitting weak spots and vanishing from the beast's sight. While this hardcore brawl is going down in the woods, young Master Yi's squad finally shows up at the disaster zone. The rich suit finds it hilarious seeing our hero fighting solo and bets all his money that the kid is gonna bite the dust right there. But the laughs stop fast when he sees the rookie has actually left an advanced beast looking totally wrecked. Su-hong spots the snobby intruders rolling up and finds it super sus that they managed to track down a dangerous monster this fast. With zero warning, a myth head from the enemy squad jumps at the kid's back, following his boss's orders to attack. Realizing how incredibly cowardly that backstab was, the MC's eyes go completely dark with pure rage. Staring down the lackey, Su-hong lets him know he only got pushed because of a sneak attack and asks if they seriously think they can take him. Not wasting a second, the boy fires off a devastating electric punch straight into the cocky enemy's chest. The masked brute feels the terrifying force of the hit crushing his body, totally unable to defend himself. Using the opening, the MC sinks another violent hit, launching the enemy straight into the air. The lackey crashes hard into the busted ground, right in front of the freaked out hunting squad. Checking out the move he just used, one of the hunters instantly recognizes the punch and confirms the rookie is the famous Minotaur from the arena. Our hero shifts his focus to young Master Yi and instantly clocks him as the White Fox masked guy. Keeping up his arrogant vibe, the rich kid mentions the boy was the first person to ever humiliate him that badly in front of a crowd. Bossing his goons around, the villain literally just points a finger and gives the cold order to take out the MC. The rookie quickly jumps back, scaling the rocky cliff face, while the enemies scream at each other to go after him. Once deep in the thick jungle, the lackeys search for their target, telling each other to watch out for forest ambushes. One of the mercs totally disrespects the warning, thinking it's ridiculous to be scared of one guy when they have a whole squad. In the blink of an eye, Su-hong pops up like a ninja, cutting through the wind right behind the distracted enemy. The hero's eyes glow intensely in the dark, spotting the fatal flaw in his opponent's defense. Delivering a brutal electric strike, he crushes the hunter against the ground, kicking up a massive cloud of dust and debris. The merca's body drops, completely knocked out and bloody right in the middle of the thick brush. Annoyed by losing a guy so fast, young Master Yi curses the whole situation, having zero clue how the kid is so insanely fast. The goons step in front of their boss to protect him, completely shook after recognizing the thunder punch at a ridiculous level of perfection. The rich kid tells them all to shut up while shaking with nerves, thinking it's totally impossible for someone to max out those techniques. Watching the whole thing from up on a branch, our hero figures he could have crushed them all in a straight fight if he wasn't so gassed from the giant snake. With no gas left in the tank to fight the whole squad at once, he decides to hop through the trees and pick them off one by one with quick ambushes. Moving like actual lightning, the young guy hits another merc's back with his spear before the dude can even blink. Immediately after, he follows up with a massive kick straight to the face of another hunter standing right next to him. The hit lands perfectly and violently throws the brute backward into the bushes with a destructive electric shock. Keeping the lethal combo going, the kid slices up another opponent who hits the dirt bleeding bad. Freaking out over the rapid-fire massacre, the lackeys beg their boss to run away, but the villain thinks this is some sick joke. Staring at the rookie taking apart his team, the suit swears to himself that he's taking this kid out today, no matter what it takes. Seeing the MC charging in furious, another goon steps up with a knife, trying to delay the lethal attack. But the kid completely ignores the pathetic defense and sinks his fist into the ground, creating a massive crater and shattering everything around them. Blown away by the destruction, the rich kid wonders how it's even possible for his enemy to get this strong in just a few days. Ignoring the downed goons, the MC rushes straight at the enemy leader with ridiculous speed. Cornered and cursing his own bad luck, the suit drops into a fighting stance, knowing there's nowhere left to run. With his spear ready to pierce, Su-hong lets him know it's finally time for the rich boy to pay up for what he did. Blocking the attack with bare hands glowing in blue energy, the villain tells the kid not to get cocky, thinking he's already won. Just then, the young master fires a bunch of slicing blasts of pure energy straight from his fingers to push the hero back. With a fast and smooth spin, the rookie twirls his spear shaft, creating a shield to block the lethal shots. One of the blasts misses and hits a massive tree, splitting the trunk in half with a violent explosion of splinters. Keeping the pressure up, the suit spams shots, destroying the entire area with destructive blue lights. Dodging by the skin of his teeth, the boy admits that the enemy's advanced technique has gotta be at least Class B. Far away from the chaos, the surviving squad members watch the mess, thinking the newbie is a total freak and trying to see if their boss already finished him off. Busting out of the smoke, our hero charges at the lackey with the giant sword, while the villain chases him, swearing he'll never forgive him. Out of absolutely nowhere, the giant snake wakes up pissed right behind the sword guy, freezing the entire group in pure terror. The monster lunges, swallowing the swordsman in the blink of an eye, scoring the hero dozens of martial points for the indirect assist. Another hunter gets eaten alive while screaming, and the MC thinks it's awesome to farm easy XP by using the beast against them. Taking full advantage of the absolute chaos the monster caused, the young fighter books it to vanish into the deep jungle for good. Leaping away from the danger zone, he figures the points he racked up from these fights are finally enough to make him an official martial artist. Sticking the landing on a thick tree branch, he tells himself he needs to find a super secure spot to focus on leveling up. Scanning the rocky cliff ahead, the fighter spots a dark cave and decides that hole is the perfect headshot. Wasting no time, the hero dives right into the rocky gap while the giant snake chases him, tearing up the dirt. The wild beast smashes its head with brute force into the tight entrance, shattering the rocks in a violent explosion of dust. Safe deep in the dark hideout, the boy breathes a sigh of relief seeing the monster totally stuck in the narrow rocks at the entrance. Furious, the snake bares its sharp fangs, trying to shove its massive body through the hole in a useless attempt to reach its snack. Ignoring the crazy loud roars outside, the MC pops open his glowing interface to kick off his system's evolution process. Tapping the virtual panel anxiously, he quickly dumps all his points into the vitality stat to speed up his gains. With the massive boost in energy, the hero's body runs super hot, glowing deep red and feeling like actual lava is rushing through his veins. The panel finally locks in 100 max vitality points while the snake watches this totally bizarre scene unfold from outside. Bathed in an aura of colossal power, the young guy goes wild celebrating that he broke the barrier and became a legit first-class martial artist. Turning away from the panel with his fists sparking heavy energy, he glares at the beast with a killer look, letting it know it's his turn now. Launching out of the cave like a missile, the hero channels all his ridiculous new power straight into his right hand, ready to strike. The violent punch hits the giant snake dead on the chin, lifting its monstrous body with an absurdly devastating impact. The hit is so powerful it creates a burst of yellow light, launching the heavy creature into the sky as it lets out a desperate roar. Giving the monster zero breathing room, the MC charges across the field, pulling up his special punch technique charge to the absolute max. He takes a massive leap, intercepting the snake mid-air before it can drop and snap out of the stun. Releasing a heavy wave of dark, reddish energy, the boy sinks the attack into the beast's back with pure destructive intent. Even with a clean hit, the extreme effort makes the hero groan and spit a little red due to the insane tension on his muscles. Pushing his body to the absolute limit, he grips his spear incredibly tight, winding up the final strike to finish the job. The fighter dives from the sky, delivering a crushing slash that sends the jade serpent slamming back into the earth for good. The impact leaves a massive crater, burying the wild monster in the dirt with an explosion of soil and blue sparks. Dropping down right after, the young guy channels intense electricity through both hands, prepping a thunder move to completely crush his wounded prey. The brutal lightning combo shreds the snake's thick scales, making it scream in pure agony as it faces its final moments. The golden flash lights up that entire stretch of the forest, wiping out any tiny chance the giant creature had left to survive. Standing tall next to the map carcass, the winner proudly realizes he can now go toe-to-toe with high-level beasts without backing down. Chilling comfortably on his fresh kill, he scratches his head trying to figure out how to claim his bounty, since snakes don't exactly have left ears to chop off. Unable to find an easy way to lug the nasty trophy around, he just ditches the body there and decides to head back to the city before it gets dark. Strolling confidently down the thick forest trail, our MC leaves a trail of destruction behind him, carrying the weight of his new martial evolution. Staring at the suited guy's dead body on the ground, Su Hong figures that going out like that means the dude actually got super lucky. He immediately starts looting the dead guy's pockets, crossing his fingers to find the advanced technique he used in their fight earlier. The loot drop is a success, and the kid pulls out a mysterious book called Void-Piercing Finger. The scene cuts to a quiet cave with the giant, defeated snake's body tossed in some dark water. Outside the hole, the cozy glow of a campfire lights up the freezing rocks. Chilling by the fire, the MC notes he's already memorized the basics of the new skill and is about to use the system to master it in record time. He logs into his virtual space and instantly summons the light clone to kick off the hardcore training. The glowing copy drops into the perfect stance and fires off the technique, unleashing some seriously strong blue energy. Tracking every flawless move, the boy watches his panel numbers shoot up, hitting nearly 100% mastery. With his eyes glowing in pure focus, our hero perfectly grasps the flow of power and unlocks the basic mastery of the strike. Coughing a bit from the ridiculous effort, he feels the heavy toll of practicing a B-tier move and decides to hunt a monster to test it out. 3 whole days go by in the woods until a terrifying, giant bear roars aggressively, asking for a fight. Without hesitating, the young guy fires the void-piercing finger, ripping through the wild beast with a destructive blue blast. Drawn by all the noise, a suited guy walks up, super impressed that it took down a high-level beast all by himself. The woman next to him figures the boy is just basic level and accuses him of looting Master Yi's gear, demanding a search right then and there. The suited goons step up and box him in, warning the kid not to resist or things are gonna get real ugly. Catching on to the threat, the young guy pulls his spear with crazy speed right through the smoke. The lightning-fast move totally spooks the mercs when they see the sharp tip aimed right at one of their throats. Keeping his cool 100%, Su-hong reveals he's a student at the city's #1 school and asks if they really have the guts to push this. The suit starts sweating, remembering that the school's principal is super protective of his students, and picking a fight with him is always a terrible idea. He realizes that if the kid actually killed all those beasts, he's a dangerously genius prodigy, and ticking someone like that off just isn't worth it. Playing it cool, the leader claims his nephew got jumped and a secret family technique got stolen. He tries the diplomatic route, offering 10,000 coins in compensation just to search the kid's backpack. Proving he's no fool, the boy holds up 3 fingers, demanding 30,000 since they can't accuse him without any proof. Left with 0 options, the guys do a deep search of his bag right there on the dirt path. The lackey confirms he found absolutely nothing, forcing the boss to accept the deal and cough up the 30,000 coins. Walking away, our MC breathes a huge sigh of relief for cleaning up his tracks, just in time to avoid a massive headache. While the boss orders his squad to keep searching everyone, the kid plans to grab a shower and head straight to the Martial Artists Association. He kicks back in an underground hotel room, finally enjoying a well-deserved moment of peace. Popping open his system panel, the hero is shocked to see he farmed 534 points after that whole forest massacre. He calculates that the initial stage burns 100 vitality points and figures he'll have about 40 left over before the mid-stage. Curious about his other stats, he decides to hold off on evolution and try dumping points into spirit and mortal frame instead. The young guy drops dozens of points into spirit, but gets totally bummed out when he doesn't feel a single change in his body. But the second he focuses on his mortal frame, his strength shoots up like crazy, so he decides to go all in on that. The stat hits 36%, wiping out his bar, while the system chimes to confirm the transfer is done. Hyped about his buffed-up frame, he decides to dump his next 200 points straight into his core vitality. Wasting 0 time, the boy pours all his leftovers right into the spirit tab, feeling an infinite amount of energy bubbling up. A red explosion takes over the room, making his body double in size with insanely terrifying, hulking muscles, shrinking back to normal right after. He sits on the bed panting, super relieved he didn't get stuck looking like some bizarre method. An hour later, the massive Martial Artists Association building shines under the city's clear blue sky. Su-hong hits up the front desk, saying he's here for the exam, and the receptionist quickly says someone will escort him. An older guy points out the kid is way too young for his first test and warns him about the ridiculous requirements to pass. Skeptical of the solo kid, the veteran assumes he's just there to try his luck since he didn't even bring a master with him. Ignoring the trash talk, the hero's intense look shows he's more than ready to tackle this challenge. Inside the packed hall, a buzzer goes off signaling that a candidate just failed after hitting 992 power. The system gives the green light to student Li Ming with 105 vitality, and the examiner calls him up for the physical strength test. The cocky kid steps up to the giant machine, winding up a punch with some serious energy. He buries his fist into the target with everything he's got, setting off a loud boom in the room. The digital scoreboard lights up with 1,763 power, locking in his instant pass. The crowd's jaws drop as they hype up the guy's crazy strength and glaze Master Jiang Ming's training. Overhearing the chatter, the MC remembers another aggressive punk from that same dojo and wonders just how many annoying disciples this master actually has. The evaluator calls Su-hong up next, while his rival just laughs at him sarcastically. Li Ming roasts the newbie, thinking it's pathetic for someone his age to even attempt the exam and compare himself to a genius like him. But the roasting stops dead in its tracks when he sees the hero's massive score on the machine and assumes the jeer is broken. The staffer announces Su Hong passed with 123 vitality, making the rich boy absolutely furious. Swallowing his tears, the rival claims vitality is useless and combat power is the only thing that actually matters. The physical test is about to kick off, and the kid casually walks up to the heavy equipment. Quietly doing the math on his ridiculous stats, he figures using just 40% of his strength is more than enough to clear it. A staffer congratulates the newbie on his success and asks him to head to the second floor to claim his prize. Before he can even move, another suit pops up in the hallway, announcing he'll be handling the kid personally. A blonde woman with serious boss energy walks down the hall, being called president by the local staff. She stares the boy down and introduces herself as Wu Lingxian, letting him know she runs the city's association. The MC follows her, totally shocked that a level 5 martial artist looks so different from what he pictured. Once inside the fancy meeting room, the woman casually drops that his school principal tried to hide his talent with sob stories. Chilling on the couch, she finds it impossible that such a trash school produced a raw genius without anyone noticing. Confused by the VIP treatment, the young guy asks why he's even there, since he just came for his allowance and the promised technique. The blonde tells him to relax and sip a drink, promising her staff is already sorting out all the boring paperwork. She stands up with pure style, stating she's going to teach him the technique personally, and asks what he knows about it. Thinking it over, the boy says school textbooks claim these skills are only good for absorbing worldly energy. The president kinda agrees, but sparks a flame in her hands to prove these moves are way more than just fancy meditation. Turning up the heat, she explains that the celestial flame buffs the body and massively upgrades the lethality of physical attacks. With a brutal flick, she projects the heat, launching a massive wave of fire that literally destroys the air right in front of the kid. The hero is absolutely stunned sitting on the couch, since school never bothered to mention this technique was meant for actual combat. The woman lists the 7 main elements of energy, pointing out that thunder power is hands down the best for dealing massive damage. Wrapping up the lesson, she crosses her legs and drops the bomb that nobody chooses their technique. It all depends entirely on physical compatibility. The president grabs a glowing crystal ball, explaining it measures compatibility, brighter light equals a higher level, and 80% is already insane. Handing the dark orb to the boy, she's super confident that a prodigy like him will easily blow past the 30% mark. Holding the crystal ball, our hero thinks 80% is a huge stretch, considering the president herself is a genius and tapped out right there. Suddenly, a blinding red light explodes from the object right in his hands. The intense glow totally floods the room, leaving the woman shook when she sees his fire compatibility maxed out at 100%. She asks if the kid even grasps what that means, and he says no. The blonde explains he can absorb all fire energy with zero waste. Using herself as an example, she notes she loses 2/10 of her energy, but that was still enough to hit level 5. Looking closely at the kid, the president guarantees his future is going to be even crazier, completely baffled that a small town birthed a monster like him. But Su Hong just thinks fire is cool, but he heavily prefers the thunder element. Just like that, the crystal ball shifts colors and starts crackling with some heavy yellow electric energy. The whole room is filled with lightning while the two just sit in dead silence, staring at the glowing orb. Breaking the awkward tension, the boy awkwardly mentions his thunder affinity seems to be maxed out too. The blonde is in total disbelief over a perfect double affinity, calling the kid an absolute freak of nature. Seconds later, Su Hong is holding the crystal glowing green, casually dropping that his wind element also hit 100%. The shock is so massive that a heavy silence completely takes over the luxury office while they both sit on the couch. Holding her own head, the blonde tries to process how ridiculous it is for all his affinities to be maxed, thinking she's got to be dreaming. The woman thinks back to when she considered herself a top-tier prodigy, an extreme rarity in the martial world. But looking at someone who completely breaks all logic and common sense, she finally accepts she's just a normal person. She figures that in order to take down beings who break the rules of the world, only warriors who also defy common sense have any real shot at winning. Watching the kid chill on the couch, the president realizes he is exactly one of those anomalies that normal people will never understand. Meanwhile, the young guy thinks it's a massive waste to just stick with thunder and leave 6 other perfect elements sitting on the bench. With that in mind, he asks for a copy of all 7 elemental techniques, leaving the woman completely speechless. Ticked off, she scolds him, warning that human energy has limits, and trying to grind everything at once is a recipe for absolute disaster. Our hero pushes back, insisting he wants to test drive all of them before picking his main, making the blonde cave, but warning him not to waste his talent. Changing the subject, Su Hong asks why she's suddenly so interested in him, pointing out that the school's monthly exam is right around the corner. The blonde explains the beast war is escalating, so the nations are opening a special genius camp, and she wants to refer him for a spot. Later on, the kid is staring at his system screen, super curious about how he's going to level up these brand new orientation techniques. Trying to upgrade a skill, the panel buzzes that he's out of martial points, so the young guy decides to focus on grinding resources later. Back in his room, he sits on the floor meditating, surrounded by the glowing manuals kicking off his advanced training. Hours later, the energy of all 7 elements is rushing through his body, but the different attributes start violently rejecting each other. Sweating bullets from the pain, our hero finally gets why geniuses spent decades hard, stuck at level 1 when trying to cultivate everything at once. Chilling on the roof at night, he holds flames in his hand and realizes spiritual energies only let you use one element at a time. Trying to force a second attribute to trigger at the same time, his body starts rejecting the super unstable mix. The repelling force causes a bright explosion, making the two powers aggressively clash and vanish into thin air. Keeping his cool, he spawns thunder and fire in his hands, figuring that elements with similar vibes might actually fuse. With a quick motion, the young guy claps his hands together, trying to force the pure fusion of the two volatile elements all at once. A chain of explosions lights up the building's roof, but he refuses to quit, swearing to keep at it until it works. The entire night passes, and the morning sun finally peeks over the city's apartment complex. Totally exhausted and panting, he stares at a tiny, stable spark in his hands and focuses hard on keeping it together. Past his absolute limits, the MC screams, demanding the colossal energy to just merge once and for all. A violent boom echoes out as the flames and lightning finally weave together into a single mass of pure destructive power. Staring at the electric fireball resting in his palm, he celebrates his win after an entire night of back-to-back fails. Hyped about his lethal new weapon, the kid clenches his fist and decides to hit the streets to see how much damage this fusion can really do. The scene cuts to the massive martial arts plaza in Star City, soaking up the chill morning light. Our MC walks up to a level 3 test robot, confident this advanced machine won't break too easily from his hits. He fires an explosive punch at the gear, remembering he used half his strength before, so now he's capping it at 30%. The scoreboard flashes over 2,300 points, totally shocking the hero, who was expecting a way lower number. Checking out the damage, he summons only thunder energy just to compare the ridiculous power difference in his hand. He spawns the aggressive fusion of the two elements again to double-check the raw strength boost. Without missing a beat, the boy sinks another devastating attack coated in lightning, and fires straight into the metal target. The machine immediately beeps, breaking the 3,000-point mark, leaving the young guy seriously impressed by the stats. He figures that using just a fraction of his strength with the fusion, he's already out, damaging an advanced artist, even with his low vitality. His imagination runs wild thinking about the apocalyptic power he'd unlock if he managed to fuse all 7 elements into a single strike. Pumped about the idea, the hero snuffs out the flame in his hand and decides to sprint back home to try fusing a third attribute. Back on the quiet rooftop, the young guy sits down to restart his brutal and exhausting meditation session. Sweating like crazy and totally shirtless, he complains that the difficulty just spiked ridiculously, and he got nowhere with the new mix. Staring at the glowing panel, Su-hong thinks leveling up the techniques might make things easier, planning to farm a ton of points in tomorrow's exam. The next day, the school courtyard is absolutely packed, with every student lined up for the huge event on the field. Up on stage, the principal announces that due to the war tension, this exam is going to be different, aiming to draft the elite for a special genius camp. In the crowd, the students are gossiping with hype about the massive resources, pills, and top-tier instructors the camp is going to hand out. The cocky purple-haired kid yells that he wants the spot, while the crowd compares the camp instructors' levels to their own principals. Looking completely bored, Su-hong listens to the rules for the 3 spots and wonders if he shouldn't just grab first place and call it a day. Nearby, a guy admits they have absolutely zero chance since the rich kids mastered the thunder punch and became real martial artists. A teacher mentions the principal even brought in an advanced master to give private lessons specifically for these top talents. Staring down our MC with a smirk, the dojo rival promises to show everyone who the real genius is, hoping the newbie doesn't lose his nerve. Outside the arena, the principal walks around totally frustrated, admitting he still hasn't tracked down the 9-boom genius. Suddenly, the old man looks weirded out as a group strolls into the school courtyard. He sarcastically greets old Lai, asking why his buddy is walking around looking like his wife just left him. The guest roasts the local student's skills and announces he brought his own disciples to embarrass the champion of this tournament. Ticked off by the blatant disrespect, the principal realizes backing down would be social suicide in front of everyone. Inside the arena, Su-hong easily knocks out his opponent with a crushing kick straight to the chest. Watching from the stands, the principal is baffled, asking where this super strong kid came from, since he wasn't in his classes. The teacher in charge takes the blame for slacking, while the rival old Lee scratches his chin, thinking the boy looks awfully familiar. Flipping the vibe, the principal excitedly announces that the semi-final between the other top favorites is wrapping up in the main ring. The semi-final is intense, with the two fighters trading fast hits. The crowd watches the brawl, saying it's impossible to guess who's gonna win. With that, Chen Shan channels some ice, cold energy and tells his opponent he's got zero chance if he doesn't bust out his strongest attack too. Not backing down, the other fighter charges in, slicing the air with a direct punch to clash head-on with the enemy's attack. Chen Shan praises his rival's hustle, but swears he's still the #1 guy in school while charging with a flaming fist. The stands go crazy seeing the kid project his attribute. They gossip that the fire element is second only to thunder in raw combat power. But the rival mocks the flex, asking who doesn't know how to do that, right before unleashing his own intense energy. The students instantly recognize Li Tu's power and realize his metal element is way stronger than fire in a direct clash. Riding the elemental advantage, the outsider completely shatters his opponent's flaming defense with a crushing attack. Chaining the combo, Li Tu wins up the Thunder Punch technique to end it all with 5 consecutive sonic booms. The electric hit catches Chen Shan dead on, slamming the poor guy violently into the arena floor. Watching it all go down, the principal regrets that the rookie hit his true strength. He's totally blown away that the kid mastered so much in just 10 days. Old Lee talks trash, saying Su-hong has no shot in the finals against his disciple unless he also knows an orientation technique. Annoyed by the cockiness, another teacher bets 50,000 on our MC's win. Old Lee takes that easy money in a heartbeat. The announcer immediately calls the grand finale in the center ring. The masters scream from the stands, ordering their students to win at all costs. Staring down the hero, Li Tu claims he got super lucky they didn't cross paths earlier, already locking into his aggressive, lightning-infused stance. Completely relaxed, Su-hong drops that the regular students are just too weak and he finally found someone worth sparring with. The outsider gets furious at the disrespect, telling the hero to settle for second place, but the kid sarcastically asks who's gonna take first. Losing his mind entirely, Li Tu rushes his opponent, screaming with absolute certainty that he's the real champ. He charges his electric technique to max power, claiming he only needs one single hit to show the massive power gap between them. The crowd goes into shock seeing the advanced attack pop out right at the start, assuming our MC is about to get humiliatingly stumped. Showing zero signs of fear, the hero's eyes glow intensely with some truly terrifying energy. Channeling massive power into his fist, the boy steps up, determined to finally test the absolute limit of his current physical body. The students scream in panic, thinking it's absolute madness for their classmate to try and tank that lethal hit without dodging. But the two fighters clash violently in a crazy fast exchange of blows right in the middle of the arena. Exploding a tiny opening, our MC shatters the enemy's guard, tearing through the electric defense with pure brute force. 2 is completely stunned, realizing his 5 sonic booms just got cancelled out like they were absolutely nothing. With a devastating explosion, Su-hong launches his cocky rival into the air like a ragdoll caught in an energy storm. Hitting the ground totally paralyzed, the outsider feels his body wrecked and admits the kid's hits are as heavy as a literal monster's. The whole gym agrees the rookie's power is freakish for canceling an advanced technique just using raw physical strength. The principal laughs out loud in the stands, super hyped to confirm his school produced a genius with a special physical build. Sweating bullets, Ola tries to save face, arguing that raw strength isn't enough since his disciple mastered an element and still holds the upper hand. Down in the ring, Li Tu slides across the court, trying to find his footing after eating that ridiculous punch. Covered in intense lightning, the outsider screams at the hero to humble himself, promising he's still walking out of there with the win. Consumed by pure hate, he charges in, tearing through the air with an aggressive attack, daring the MC to try and stop him. Looking completely bored by the threat, the boy complains his rival pulled out the hacks way too fast when he just wanted to test raw physical brawling. Deciding to stop holding back, our hero clenches his fist, summoning a golden storm of pure electrical energy all around himself. Later that day, the sunset lights up the apartment complex as the young guy walks in, telling his aunt and uncle he's finally back. His uncle greets him, hyped up, and instantly asks how the exams went. With a huge smile, the kid announces he bagged first place. The aunt can barely believe the epic win. Meanwhile, her husband celebrates, knowing this victory secures that dream spot in the special camp. But right in the middle of the family's hype celebration, some loud knocking interrupts dinner, catching the boy's attention. Opening the door, he's face to face with a super dressed up rich lady standing in the hallway looking for the owner of the house. Confused by this random visit from some snobby socialite, the MC straight up asks her who she is. The snob explains her son placed fourth at the school, and she came personally to ask the hero to forfeit his camp spot. With the most arrogant attitude ever, she immediately tries shoving 30,000 coins into his hand to buy his ranking. Staring at this dirty bribe right on their doorstep, the vibe turns instantly heavy, and the whole family glares at the woman's audacity. Annoyed by the silent rejection, the snob tries to scare them, saying people literally die at the camp, and that quitting is actually for his own good. After spitting her toxic truth, the woman turns her back and storms down the hall, convinced she's totally right. Inside, the aunt clings to her nephew's arm, terrified, and asks if that place actually is dangerous as she said. The uncle tries to calm his wife down, telling her to take a deep breath and not fall for the arrogant rich lady's cheap talk. Staring at the kid dead serious, the older man asks if he can guarantee his own survival in this challenge. Without hesitating for even a split second, the MC shoots back a look full of confidence, locking in his promise that he's coming back alive. The uncle lightly scolds his wife for doubting the boy, stating his nephew is man enough to make his own life choices. Overwhelmed by the massive worry over the danger, the woman can't handle the pressure and runs to the bedroom, crying her eyes out. Meanwhile, outside, the snob stomps away grumbling, hoping the kid gets eliminated from the training ASAP. Back in the simple living room, Su-hong apologizes for not warning them about the risks earlier, but his uncle says it's all good. Being super understanding, the veteran admits he's a rough guy and promises full support since the young guy knows what's best for his own future. Just then, the aunt comes back, smacking her husband for talking nonsense, and begs her nephew through tears to just focus on coming back safe. Feeling the heavy weight of that pure, genuine love, the kid flashes a chill smile and agrees with the woman's sweet concern. Later on, sitting on the edge of the roof, our hero watches the night roll in, swearing he needs to keep getting stronger to protect his precious family. Checking out his glowing system screen, he sees he's hoarded almost 300 martial points, but knows that's still nowhere near enough. Su-hong thinks to himself he has zero clue what techniques the geniuses at camp use, so he decides to blow his points on upgrading his physical frame first. Immediately, the kid's body starts expanding violently, packing on absurd muscles that tear the air with a brutal red energy. Taking a deep breath as he shrinks back to normal, he watches his progress hit almost 65% and wonders what the heck comes after the max limit. Out of nowhere, the panel chimes that his orientation techniques leveled up to 2 all by themselves, leaving him totally confused about how that even happened. Analyzing the weird glitch, our hero figures that since he only trained the basics lately, his power must level up passively through natural cultivation. Pumped about this super handy discovery, he decides to speed run the process, summoning flames and lightning in his hands to try and force another level up. The late night slowly rolls over the quiet metropolis until the first rays of morning sun start lighting up the tallest buildings. Fully locked into his intense meditation, the young fighter hits level 3, mastering the elements with a destructive aura swirling around him. Checking the final stats on his screen, he celebrates that on top of his skills leveling up, his vitality also spiked, making for a massive payout. On that same sunny morning, the travel hustle starts early right outside his humble apartment complex. Rocking his backpack, the kid listens to his uncle ordering him to bring back first place, while saying his goodbyes before heading to the challenge. The couple watches their nephew walk down the quiet street, carrying the weight of all their hopes and dreams on his shoulders. The man tries to hide how sad he is to see him go, but the aunt cries, admitting she just didn't want to make the boy worry for nothing. Lugging his long bag with his spear, Su-hong walks through the busy downtown streets with the absolute swagger of a true warrior. Keeping his eyes locked on the big prize, our MC keeps moving, knowing this genius camp is going to be the ultimate test of his life. Striding confidently down the streets, Su-hong carries his spear heading straight for the training camp's meet-up spot. Suddenly, a red sports car slams the brakes right in front of the MC, totally cutting him off. Rolling down the window, President Wu Lingxian pops out wearing shades and tells the kid to get in the ride without any small talk. They hit the open road fast, leaving the big city in the dust at top speed, heading toward the big challenge. Their destination is the massive Tianlin mountain range, a giant chain of mountains stretching across the horizon. In the back seat, some kid starts freaking out, remembering that this mountain range is home to whole packs of brutal monsters. A classmate tries to chill him out, promising the area is secure, but reminds him that the deep zones have beasts that rival grandmasters. The scene then shows off the cruel wildlife of the area, making it clear that the competition between monsters there is insanely savage. These creatures are so ridiculously aggressive that not even a rank 2 martial artist would dare step foot in their turf casually. The van rolls down a narrow dirt road, diving deeper and deeper into the thick, dark part of the woods. Hiding in the pitch black between the trees, a bunch of glowing red eyes watch the van drive by with pure killer intent. Feeling the heavy vibe, one of the students mentions they're being watched and panics, asking if they're about to get jumped right there. Instead of getting scared, Su-hong figures the competition between the geniuses is going to be just as savage as the monsters, and thinks the whole setup is awesome. A little while later, the squad finally pulls up to the massive, fenced-off military camp that's already packed with competitors from all over. Hopping out of the ride, the hero checks out the crowd of talented kids, wondering what everybody's actual power level is. The training zone is flooded with prodigies, all dripping with confidence and carrying heavy weapons for the tournament. Faced with so many hardcore rivals, the MC's classmates gulp, feeling the crushing pressure of this brutal competition. On the flip side, the young fighter gets hyped, thinking it's great to have so many strong opponents packed into one spot. Wasting no time, he adjusts the spear on his shoulder and tells his group to join the crowd in the center of the evaluation courtyard. His classmates hesitantly agree and follow the hero's confident steps right into the main staging area. Just ahead, a suited supervisor announces they're just waiting for everyone to arrive before kicking off the entry exam. The delay makes some rookies annoyed, complaining that rich kids from big families always think they can make everyone else wait for nothing. Out of nowhere, the loud roar of engines rips through the camp as a convoy of luxury cars rolls in to steal the spotlight. Pricey rides park in the dirt, and the absolute superstars of the tournament start stepping out with crazy swagger. 3 teens steal the show, flexing their overwhelming telekinesis, ice, and fire powers, leaving the whole crowd totally in awe. Rocking an aura of absolute superiority, the trio walks through the yard, making the crowd naturally part the sea just out of pure respect. The MC watches the rich kids roll through super carefully, easily recognizing that this elite squad are the heavy favorites. Sizing up the trio, our hero remembers the president's warnings and gets curious to see firsthand just how tough these prodigies really are. Big stars finally here. The supervisor steps up to the podium to drop the basic rules for the entry test. He states with a booming voice that the actual camp is located 30 kilometers deep into the forest. The guy holds up a wooden badge, revealing that the entry passes have been hidden inside the stomachs of the local beasts. The news hits the weaker students like a truck, completely terrifying them with the massive risk of dying while hunting high-level monsters to pass. Staying totally chill, Su-hong runs the math and realizes he'll have tons of spare time to drop beasts and rack up crazy martial points. A panicked kid asks what happens if they run into a ridiculously strong monster, only to get the cold truth that nobody is coming to save them. The courtyard turns into pure chaos with kids screaming that the rules are unfair and based entirely on dumb luck. Having zero patience for the whining, the suit glares at them and yells that the real world isn't some child's play. He roasts the cowards, throwing it in their faces that survival of the fittest demands caution and reminding them that the strong always eat the weak on the battlefield. Dripping with disrespect, the examiner points to the gate, telling anyone scared of dying to just quit right now. One guy takes it personally and threatens to fight, but the supervisor dares the punk, promising to cripple him if he takes one more step forward. Going back to the rules, the man states that fighting is banned at the base, but once they're in the mountain, there will be absolutely zero intervention. Knowing the forest is basically the Wild West, the more aggressive hunters immediately start exchanging shady looks, aiming to rob the weaker candidates. Su-hong catches the sketchy vibe and totally understands the exam system was literally designed to cause fights and weed out half the crowd. Pumped for the chance to beat up some bullies, our hero counts on the insane amount of martial points he can farm by taking them down. The supervisor aggressively clicks his stopwatch and kicks off the exam immediately, telling them all to get out of his sight. A desperate mob takes off sprinting toward the dense woods, trampling each other in a crazy rush to survive. Flexing his extreme agility, our hero slides super fast through the tree trunks, leaving the rest of the candidates eating his dust. Deep in the woods, some clueless candidate takes a violent lightning fast smack to the head in a super cowardly sneak attack. Su-hong stands holding a piece of wood over 2 knocked out rich kids, giving them a taste of their own medicine for looking down on normal students. Back in the monitor room, the evaluators are scratching their heads watching some unknown kid easily drop 2 aggressive fighters. The head of security just crosses his arms and says to let the test keep running since the defeated rookies didn't scream for help. Sprawled out on the dirty forest floor, one of the suits cries in agony, holding his bruised head from the brutal wooden smack. Still dizzy, the guy gets a massive jump scare when a piece of wood aggressively flies by, barely missing his face. While the snob swears heavy revenge for the disrespect, our MC is already busy sinking a brutal electric punch into a monster. The suit gets up, brushing off the dirt, and tries to excuse the embarrassment, claiming he only lost that bad because he underestimated the kid. His squad mate walks over looking shaken, and the two share a long look completely full of rage and bitterness over the lightning-fast beatdown. Swallowing his pride, the partner owns up to the massive mistake and admits the mystery newbie is actually way stronger than he looked. Determined not to let it slide, the suit backs his buddy up, promising to grab that exact same piece of wood to get payback on the cocky kid. But catching the target is basically impossible now, as our hero kicks it into overdrive, sprinting like a blur through the green trails. Suddenly, a massive noise shatters the natural quiet of the thick jungle, instantly grabbing the curious kid's attention. He slams the brakes when he bumps into yet another massive herd of wild boars, super annoyed at running into the same boring beasts over and over. The boar rocking giant tusks lets out an angry grunt, fully focused on trampling and flattening the trespasser on its own turf. Brushing off the brute threat, the boy launches a string of heavy attacks, sweeping away multiple huge pigs in a sonic boom. Executing his 9-boom technique flawlessly, the hero completely vaporizes the aggressive herd in a ruthless festival of purely destructive lightning. With the beasts crushed on the dirt floor, he sticks a smooth landing, keeping his spear at the ready while the yellow energy is still burning. Checking his internal system, the kid notices the point payout for these beasts dropped super hard because his overall strength level went way up. Not wasting a second, he cuts open the fat belly of one of the carcasses, desperately hunting for the pass that gets him into the main tournament. The rookie slices open the bloody stomachs of over 10 boars scattered around the clearing, dealing with the nasty stench of ruined guts. Wiping his filthy hands, he gets super frustrated, realizing the examiners only shoved the passes inside the actually dangerous monsters. Determined to fix this delay ASAP, the MC starts sprinting again, diving deep into the dense woods for 30 minutes straight. He complains, completely annoyed that he bumped into dozens of useless beasts earlier, and now can't find a single target worth fighting. As a swift and deadly answer, a giant black tiger violently leaps out of the dark bushes, attacking him straight from behind. Instead of freaking out over the cat's lethal trap, the fighter is hyped to finally score a super valuable advanced prey. Twisting his body without losing balance, he channels his piercing power into his finger and shoots a straight, deadly blue blast that tears through the freezing air. The clean hit slams the heavy tiger forcefully into the cracked earth, kicking up a ton of thick dust in the middle of the sudden ambush. With the freshly killed monster right at his feet, our hero doesn't wait around and spins his spear, slicing the air fast to dig out the nasty prize. The clash of Su-Hong's spear against the beast triggers a massive energy explosion right in the middle of the forest. The monster taken down, the boy casually pulls his weapon back and confirms that dropping high-level beasts is a total cakewalk right now. Digging through the tiger's heavy carcass, he rummages through the mess looking for the approval token. Holding the bloody pass, the hero complains that he wasted almost 3 hours just to track down one of these things. Just then, a pack of high-level black tigers emerges from the shadows of the dense forest, totally surrounding the kid. Checking the clock, our MC figures it's just not worth hunting the bigger beasts if they take this long to even show up. Instead of aiming for quality, he decides the ultimate strategy to speed farm points is just betting entirely on sheer quantity. With only 5 hours left on the timer, the young guy kicks up the pace, completely zeroed in on maxing out his physical body's progress. Down the forest trail, trashed monster carcasses showcase the absolute bloodbath left behind by the rookie. A herd of wild boars runs for their lives through the area, desperately trying to escape the incoming danger. Showing zero mercy, the kid slides through the beasts, dicing up everything in his path with extreme agility. Riding that ridiculous speed, he dodges their attacks and keeps up his ruthless killing spree to farm points. After wiping out dozens of weak beasts, the fighter finally runs into a mid-tier monster and wins up a flaming punch. Brutal fire, charged hit catches the creature dead on, triggering a devastating explosion of light across the zone. Taking the direct hit, a giant bear roars in absolute agony as its body gets shoved back by the ridiculous force of the attack. The beast's massive body violently crashes into the mountain's cracked floor, kicking up a huge dust cloud. A continuous pillar of fire sinks the creature into the dirt, marking the boy's flawless victory over the aggressive animal. Sticking a stylish landing near the toasted carcass, he takes a deep breath after dumping that much destructive power all at once. The young guy clenches his fist, hyped that he can wipe out mid-level monsters using just raw brute force without breaking a sweat. Checking the glowing system screen, our hero celebrates that he's only 100 points away from maxing out his mortal body's progress. Just 3 hours left until the exam ends. He grips his spear, completely determined to speedrun the rest of the points he needs. Suddenly, a terrifying windstorm sweeps the entire forest, violently shaking the treetops. Surprised by the sudden switch up, our MC looks up at the sky, totally clueless about where that deafening noise came from. A colossal shadow blankets the zone as a gigantic golden bird flies over the mountains looking like an absolute boss. The legendary beast lets out a piercing screech that echoes through the entire valley, dropping some seriously crushing pressure. The kid jams his spear into the dirt so he doesn't get blown away, absolutely shook by the terrifying strength of the king of beasts. Just the flap of the giant bird's wing sets off a shockwave that snaps full trees in half like they're literal twigs. Fighting against the windstorm, Su-hong slides across the rocks, trying to keep his footing no matter what. Feeling the weight of that aura, the young guy swallows his pride and admits he's basically a bug compared to experts at this tier. Right then, a weird flash streaks across the sky, catching the rookie's eye in the middle of all that absolute chaos. The golden eagle glares furiously at a sphere of pure light hovering right over its sacred turf. The glow fades, revealing Grandmaster Chun Tianli floating chill in the air with a super bossy vibe. The giant monster lunges, screaming that it never agreed to loan out its zone for some human training camp. With zero patience, the veteran warns he's going to beat the beast until it learns to agree, whether it likes it or not. In a split second, the Grandmaster fires off a massive kick right into the colossal bird's beak. The impact sends the king of beasts flying backwards as it screeches from the pain of that humiliating smack. Annoyed by all the noise, the man gathers energy in his hands, complaining that the animal is way too dramatic. Desperate to hit back, the eagle launches a rapid, fire barrage of explosive feathers straight at the cocky intruder. The veteran blocks the attacks like it's a walk in the park, crushing the golden feathers with his bare hands. Pressing the creature, Chun Tianli orders it to get the heck out of there, threatening to snatch up the deeper lands later too. Retreating, the beast swears revenge while the Grandmaster just tells the animal to shut its mouth and get lost. Silence takes over the valley again, and the veteran keeps a heavy gaze, scanning the testing grounds down below. Using his energy, he projects his voice, telling all the students there's no need to panic and that the exam is still on. Sitting on a rock, Su-hong breathes a sigh of relief, totally amazed by the unreal power of a rank 7 martial artist. Supremely motivated by that display of raw strength, the kid promises himself that he's going to hit that exact same level one day. With the threat gone, the surveillance drones go back to patrolling the mountain ruins, zooming in on the candidates. At a luxury monitoring base, the evaluation team lines up respectfully as the Grandmaster touches down from the sky. 2 level 5 supervisors whisper to each other, totally impressed and agreeing that the veteran's strength is even crazier than the rumors say. The old man tells them to cut the cheap kissing up and asks to immediately see on the screens which students actually handled the eagle's pressure. The team nods right away and everyone stares at the giant panel, showing the handful of kids who didn't pass out from the aura. The Grandmaster points right at Su-hong on the screen, surprised the rookie killed high-level tigers and stayed standing through the windstorm. A supervisor confuses our hero with the mayor of Star City's son, guessing he has the special barbarian god physique. Another staffer praises a kid for using extreme agility to dodge the giant bird's pressure without taking a scratch. The crew also points out a girl who used pure telekinetic powers to totally cancel out the monster's crushing force. The old guy listens to the list of mid-tier prodigies from Star City, but asks if there aren't any actual, real-deal talents out there. The supervisor explains those students tank the beast's pressure easily, proving their strength is way above the rest. Rejecting the excuse, Kyun roasts the students from the main school, calling it a disgrace that none of them really stood out. Suddenly, one of the staffers starts sweating bullets, noticing something bizarre on the cams and calling everyone's attention. The screen zooms in on the MC slicing up monsters in the middle of the woods, keeping up a brutal energy even after the boss's windstorm. Totally in shock, the archive lady stutters in disbelief, realizing that student is an absolute monster in disguise. Keeping his cool, the veteran tells the staffer to stop making a scene in front of him over nothing. The other supervisor also panics, pointing at the data and calling the boy a complete anomaly. Annoyed by his team's freakout, the Grandmaster asks what kind of geniuses they've seen before to be losing their minds like this. But the second he glances at the kid's stat sheet, the old man himself loses his cool and his eyes pop out of his head, completely stunned. The file reveals that Su-hong has a 100% affinity in all 7 attributes and some colossal physical strength. Grabbing his own hair, the veteran screams in disbelief that it's a literal miracle a prodigy like this was born in a small town. Shaking with pure hype, he clenches his fist super hard, celebrating that he struck gold, finding an ultra-rare treasure in the camp. An evaluator interrupts the freakout, pointing out that the boy's vital energy is way too low for that much talent, which makes zero sense. The reality suddenly hits the Grandmaster, who realizes the kid is trying to cultivate all 7 energies at once, basically risking his own life. Taking charge, the old guy ignores his crew and announces the candidates are arriving, so he's gonna go check them out himself. Back at the safe camp courtyard, the rich kid trio respectfully greets the veteran while he praises their performance. The area slowly fills up with the regular students dragging themselves in completely wrecked, just relieved they survived the test. Time passes and the sunset paints the camp while the instructors assume all the qualifiers have already made it. Worried, the Grandmaster thinks to himself whether his precious treasure Suhong got lost and ended up eliminated. But crushing everyone's doubts, the MC finally appears, walking casually down the dirt trail holding his spear. Suhong strolls in covered in sweat and mess, carrying his spear and sneaking in right at the buzzer. Looking at the state of the kid, the other competitors whisper in shock about how many beasts he must have had to wipe out. Just then, a guy sitting in the corner says he's finally been waiting for him and starts plotting a way to deal with the rookie. Finding the drama interesting, the big guy in the tank top nods along while the rest of the elite squad watches our hero. The supervisor then announces that the 8 hours are up, and anybody who hasn't arrived is completely eliminated from the camp. He starts laying out the rules and introduces the main areas, like the gravity rooms, the movement zones, and the beast combat arenas. The martial arts pavilion is also hyped up as one of the most important spots in the whole complex. Sitting exhausted on the ground, our MC decides coming to this advanced camp was definitely the right move. But to actually use all these insane facilities, you gotta stack up a ton of contribution points. The suited supervisor breaks it down, saying the only way to earn those points is by absolutely crushing the training exams. Since it's getting late, the man clears the healthy students to go train and orders the injured ones stray straight to the dorms to rest up. Back in his solo room, our hero is relieved to have some privacy to train and level up without anyone snooping around. He boots up the glowing system and celebrates, racking up 354 martial points to spend. Zero time, the boy dumps every single point into his mortal body, sparking a heavy red aura all around him. The evolution hits 100%, pushing the fighter's muscles to the absolute extreme in a wave of raw power. The red energy keeps burning hard while his veins bulge with the crazy new strength. Out of nowhere, the stacked-up power explodes, shattering the air and tearing up the space around the room. Panting hard, Suhong takes a deep breath, feeling his body settle down after that aggressive transformation. He clenches his own fist, completely shook that just a basic physical attack is so terrifyingly strong now. Checking the holographic screen, he finds out he awakened the Overlord's body, literally the most overpowered physique in existence. The system shows his spirit rank is sitting at 0, making the boy super curious about what weird evolutions are coming next. Throwing on his jacket all chill, he admits this new physical build is absolutely unbelievable. The hero then grabs his spear leaning against the wall, testing his firm grip on the weapon. Checking out the material, he realizes it's a Class C alloy, and he almost snapped it just by squeezing it hard. Bummed out by that, the young guy remembers he blew an absurd fortune buying this fragile piece of gear. But then it clicks that he actually got this spear for free off one of the dead hunters out in the wild zone. Knowing he can earn points just by wearing a weighted vest, he leaves his room entirely focused on testing his limits. Walking into the training warehouse, the massive area is packed with students testing out heavy gear. In the middle of the room, the big dude Wang Tiantuo is jumping around in a 3,000-kilo vest like it's absolutely nothing. Watching this go down, the white-haired instructor praises the monstrous strength of this seriously impressive brute. In the control room, the crew is watching the cams, hyping up the power of that massive student's barbarian god physique. The supervisor takes the chance to ask Grandmaster Kyun when they're going to warn Suhong about how dangerous the 7 techniques are. The veteran explains that prodigies are way too cocky, and giving them a direct warning will just backfire completely. Because of that, they need to force the rookie to quit on his own, asking right after if the invasion squad is good to go. One of the instructors nods, promising that a surprise night raid is going to make the rookies cry like babies. The Grandmaster orders them to send a high-level martial artist to completely crush our hero. Worried about the massive power gap, a staffer warns that the kid's vitality is way too low for that kind of fight. Showing zero pity, the leader states that if the kid's confidence shatters that easily, he's basically just trash anyway. Back at the warehouse, the crowd runs overhyped, announcing the big guy is heading straight into the gravity room. With the place clearing out, the MC decides to go take a look at his rival's performance too. Before leaving, he spots a self-service machine where you grab the wristbands that track your points. The boy doesn't waste a second and snatches a giant weighted vest from the leftover gear. Checking out the item, he realizes the material weighs a ridiculous 10,000 kilos of super heavy alloy. Strapping on the gear, the fighter feels the massive pressure crushing his shoulders and admits it definitely tanks his speed. Even with all that crazy weight, he takes off in a wild sprint, cutting through the wind down the base's hallway. Walking chill, Su-hong figures a 5,000 kilo load is more than perfect for his current workout. Watching the muscular veterans walk by, he wonders what weight the big brute decided to rock today. Hitting the observation deck, the hero steps up to the glass, crossing his fingers to learn something actually useful. The giant screen shows Wang Tianchuo training in the double gravity room while still wearing his heavy vest. The crowd watches in awe, doing the math that the giant is handling a crushing pressure of 6,000 kilos total. Staring at the screen, our MC crosses his arms, thinking the rival's 3,000 kilo vest is basically a feather. Just then, the students notice some rookie dying trying to handle just 500 kilos in the same room. They roast the poor guy on the floor, saying it's a total joke for someone that weak to try and compare himself to a monster. Suddenly, the door opens and the big guy finally walks out of the extreme training zone, sweating buckets. Flexing his brutal physique, he rips his shirt off, grabbing the attention of everyone in the hallway. The crowd claps for the display of insane endurance as the fighter walks by looking like an absolute boss. Sighing with relief, the brute admits the non-stop pressure that gravity is honestly terrifying. A white-haired guy praises his strength, but thinks it's madness that the giant wants to go hit the movement room right now. Mentioning a movement technique instantly grabs the attention of Su-hong, who's listening to everything from far away. The kid finds that super interesting, remembering that the only thing missing from his arsenal is exactly that kind of skill. Inside the movement room, the setup features some advanced tech packed with laser arrow shooters. The audience is in pure disbelief seeing that the difficulty level was cranked all the way up to absolute max. In the middle of the arena, Lin Sing dodges the shots with a speed so ridiculous the eyes can barely keep up. He shows off his flashy technique, leaving a trail of flower petals, clearly wanting to look super aesthetic while fighting. Thinking the skill is fire, our hero starts copying the movement, and the system logs 1% mastery. The MC's eyes glow brightly as he locks on every single detail of the fast veteran stance. Without a second thought, he steps into the exact same dodging posture as the suited guy. The students around him notice the rookie's weird moves and start staring at him. The crowd bursts out laughing, thinking it's hilarious the kid is trying to learn a skill just by watching. Ignoring the haters, Zhong spawns his clone in his mental space, perfectly dodging every single fast laser. The training in the virtual space goes into overdrive, making his mastery of the technique spike to nearly 100% in a flash. With a burst of blue aura, he finally unlocks the basic level of the skill, getting the footwork down perfectly. Exiting the simulation, the kid thinks the technique's moves are way too flashy and even feels cringe at the idea of using it. Since he already stole the info, he decides he doesn't need to hang around anymore and plans to go hunt beasts for points. But all the students are staring at the rookie in shock, leaving him confused, thinking he didn't actually do those cringe poses in real life. The MC is baffled, wondering if he accidentally busted out those over-the-top poses in the real world too. Dying of embarrassment from the clown behavior, he swears he's never gonna use that pretty boy veteran's skills as an example again. Just then, the veteran himself slices through the air at high speed using his flashy luxury movement technique. The girls scream, totally obsessed, begging the handsome rookie to run the incredible move one more time. Away from the drama, Su-hong is walking through the base until he spots from the corner of his eye that he's being followed. The two troublemakers he beat up earlier are spying from a distance, confirming their target headed into the beast room. With revenge on their minds, they scheme to block the door and hand the kid a heavy beatdown when he tries to leave. Just ahead, the massive beast containment building stands tall under the quiet lights of the camp. Once inside, Su-hong watches from afar as things get tense between the big guy Wang Tianchuo and the skilled Yan. The brute lets out a cocky laugh, warning her that her spiritual power doesn't stand a chance against his barbarian god physique. Not backing down, the girl stays confident and fires back, telling him he's the one underestimating spiritual readers. Listening to the convo, our hero gets super curious since he's never actually seen this class's combat style in action. Jumping at the chance, he decides to watch the girl's showcase before going off to hunt his own monsters. As soon as he steps up to the observation glass, the kid gets a massive jump scare from the bizarre scene down in the arena. Absolutely stunned, he notices the girl can literally levitate in mid-air, proving how insanely broken the spiritual class really is. The girl's hand glows intensely, firing beams of light that drop 3 high-level tigers in the blink of an eye. Staring at the massacre, the boy is totally shocked, trying to figure out what those fast-glowing lines even were. Suddenly, a terrifying giant bear lets out a furious roar, calling the Prodigy out for a fight. The wild beast charges in full throttle, but the young girl uses her spiritual power to lock down the monster's movements like it's nothing. On the big screen, a colossal sword slices the air, completely trashing the monster's defense without breaking a sweat. Watching closely, Suhong finally realizes those bright lights from earlier were actually tiny flying daggers. He figures out that spiritual readers are ridiculously overpowered since they can crush normal warriors just by floating weapons around. The crowd of students goes absolutely wild in the observation room, screaming in shock at the massive power of that giant sword. The spiritual weapon sinks mercilessly into the body of a colossal snake, ripping a scream of pain from the creature. Keeping a cold and focused look, Yan slices the giant serpent right in half, spreading destruction all over the arena. The MC is blown away realizing the girl is tossing around a weapon that weighs tons without even laying a finger on it. A suited veteran walks up, dropping the info that this is a Class A technique exclusive to the spiritual class. The rookies start panicking when they realize the power level, asking if the big guy Wang Qiantua has something like that too. The veteran promises he does, right as the monitor shows the brute blowing up a beast using pure, raw strength. Super hyped about the new challenges, Suhong turns around, planning to steal the giant's technique later, and checks his system. Cracking his knuckles, Suhong locks onto his goal, declaring he's about to start a literal bloodbath to rack up points. Outside the arena, the two troublemakers watch their target walk into the combat simulator all by himself. They celebrate the perfect opening, noticing everyone is busy watching the veterans, leaving the kid totally exposed. But one of the goons' eyes pop out in pure panic when he catches a glimpse of the control monitor for the rookie's room. Completely speechless, he nudges his partner, telling him to look at the broadcast screen right now. The duo goes into absolute shock seeing the boy just selected over 12 high-level beasts all at once. Freaking out, they even think about calling an instructor, assuming the kid is going to get shredded to pieces in seconds. Inside, Suhong drops into an aggressive fighting stance, staring down the horde of heavy monsters. Dripping with pure confidence, the boy cracks a smile and gestures with his hands, daring the beasts to bring it on. Answering the taunt, a monstrous scorpion lets out an ear-piercing screech, kicking up dust on the stone floor. The beast tries a violent piercing attack, but our hero hops nimbly, dodging the lethal claw with total ease. While still mid-air, he gathers a storm of blue lightning, spinning wildly right in the palm of his hand. The electric punch sinks straight into the monster's thick shell, setting off a deafening shockwave through the warehouse. Giving the beast zero room to breathe, he channels even more destructive energy, winding up for the next hit. In a ruthless festival of pure carnage, the newbie wipes the floor with the entire herd, leaving a trail of mess and lightning in the zone. Watching the massacre through the glass, the goons sweat bullets, wondering if this student is really just a normal rookie. One of them instantly recognizes the boy's lightning-fast footwork, confirming it's the handsome veteran's luxury technique. He can't wrap his head around how some random student got his hands on an advanced power locked down by such a wealthy family. It finally clicks that the genius learned the whole thing just by watching for a few minutes, proving that trying to get payback is literal suicide. While shaking with fear, the goon grips his iron bar tight, refusing to hold a humiliating L like this. Trying to hype himself up, the troublemaker argues that there's no way the rookie survives the massive monster wave. Catching his breath in the middle of the trashed arena, the kid wipes the sweat off his face after clearing the first wave of enemies. The duo outside swallows hard, falling into dead silence as they witness the totally unbelievable outcome of the battle. In just a few minutes, all 10 high-level monsters are already completely smashed into the arena floor. Checking the panel, our MC sighs in frustration because the whole bloodbath paid out barely any martial points. His look goes dark, quickly realizing that the stronger he gets, the harder it is to level up in the system. Just then, a deep roar echoes from the back of the dark hallway, revealing the glowing red eyes of the next horde. Determined to milk the training for all it's worth, the boy cracks his neck and tells the machine to keep dropping enemies. Following the aggressive command, a terrifying beast leaps out of the dark, slicing the air with sharp claws ready to tear him apart. Fueled by a ridiculous flaming aura, the hero charges head-on, firing off a devastating punch to completely run the beast over. Suhong's golden fist crushes the first monster into the ground, setting off a shockwave that breaks everything nearby. Not backing down, the rest of the hounds the rookie from all sides, looking for an opening for a kill shot. But the killer pressure rolling off the kid is so terrifying that even the beasts start backing up in fear. With eyes glowing in pure hunter's rage, he screams, demanding the monsters stop running and hand over all their points. Acting like a true predator, the fighter leaps brutally, yanking one of the fleeing beasts right by its tail. The fight turns into a literal hurricane of savagery, with our MC tossing the heavy carcasses into the air nonstop. On the other side of the glass, the bully duo watches the constant flashes of violent explosions from the monitor room. Shaking from head to toe, they decide revenge is a total waste of time and agree to bounce out of there ASAP. Back out in the courtyard, the crowd hypes up Wang Tianchu's performance after he massacred 9 high-level beasts in minutes. One of the students spots the goons coming back and laughs, asking if they managed to hand out that promised beatdown to the loner rookie. They hide their embarrassment by sarcastically agreeing, while secretly thinking they'd be dead right now if they actually tried their luck. Suddenly, the massive containment doors swing open, and the instructor announces the camp's big superstars are walking out. Dripping in sweat, Wang and Yan step out of the dark hallway, radiating confidence after a seriously hardcore training session in there. The scoreboard lights up, showing 280 points for the big guy and 70 for the girl, shocking everyone. The young girl gives a competitive smirk, pointing out the 10-point gap only exists because of her rival's heavy vest. Looking at the board, the normal students whine and cry that they barely scraped together 10 or 20 points on their hunt. But one of them points ahead, wondering who actually took first place in the monster killing contest. The crowd assumes the rich kid Lin Sing must have put up some ridiculous score, meaning they're all just fighting for fourth place. Listening to the chatter, an isolated student thinks they're all clueless and drops that there's an even scarier monster in this camp. An hour later, the scene cuts to the training building with stains scattered all over the walls. Our MC pops up chilling in a corner after stacking up a literal mountain of dead monsters. Completely drenched in sweat and gassed out, he lets out a heavy sigh, trying to catch his breath after the brawl. Su Hong admits that hunting beasts nonstop is exhausting even for someone rocking the Overlord's body structure. Even with all that crazy hustle, the boy complains he's still nowhere near the martial points he actually needs. But checking his watch, he notices he stacked up 700 contribution points and gets curious about what he can buy with that. Just then, the late afternoon sun lights up the classic, imposing front of the camp's martial arts pavilion. Inside, our hero strolls through the massive hall, watching students picking out their gear at the front desk. Scrolling through the floating catalog, he checks out the prices for level 1 healing and energy pills. The young guy also scopes the advanced skills, thinking it's a total rip-off that they cost thousands of points. Cool with the cheaper options, he thinks the pill prices are fair and gets super interested in the spiritual focus items. The clerk walks over fanning herself and casually asks if her classmate has decided what he wants to grab. Sizing up the rookie, she figures he's super low level and probably too broke to afford anything decent. The boy ignores the judgment and double-checks if the focus pill actually boosts mental power, which she promises it does. Scanning the paper catalog, he finds out the rank 4 pill is the best one they have and runs for 500 points. No messing around, Su Hong points a finger and orders the most expensive pill straight from the cashier. The employee's jaw drops to the floor, thinking he totally misheard the newbie's crazy request. Keeping his cool, our MC repeats that he wants the level 4 pill, completely unfazed by everyone else's shock. The kid taps his watch on the machine, paying the fortune instantly, and leaving the clerk speechless that he even has that many points. Flipping her attitude real quick, the woman hands over the box with a huge smile, and he takes the chance to also order some alloy elemental spears. Night finally takes over the traditional base structures, lit up by the bright glow of a full moon. The scene cuts to the modern dorms, completely dead quiet with barely any lights on in the windows. Back in the hero's room, 2 flawless alloy spears are chilling, leaned up against the wooden wall. Sitting on his bed, he stares at the glowing screen, hyped that he leveled up more in a single day than he usually does in a whole week. The young guy opens the little box to reveal the golden pill, doing the math that he only needs a little over 20 points to hit his goal. Tossing the pricey item straight into his mouth, he swallows it down, crossing his fingers it does exactly what it promised. With a confident smirk, Su Hong points at himself, guaranteeing he's going to become a powerful spiritual reader today. The pill kicks in instantly, and the boy's body lights up, showing a complex web of green energy pulsing through his chest. His eyes glow while his burnt-out nerves completely relax, bringing on this amazing feeling of pure rest. The fighter's consciousness floats in a massive virtual space, feeling his mind so clear he can sense everything around him. Snapping back to reality, the kid is blown away by the item's power, while the panel chimes that he scored 24 points. Staring at his hands, he's bummed he got so close to the limit, missing the big rank, up by just 0.5%. Lying in bed with his arms crossed, he kicks himself for not taking down just one more monster to finish the grind tonight. A wide shot shows the massive camp warehouse while the kid decides he's just gonna chill and rest for the night. The place is buzzing with action, with dozens of soldiers gathering to get some top, secret orders. One of the giants complains to his buddy, wanting to know why hardcore veterans like them got called in to play babysitter. The merc with an earring agrees, acting all tough, claiming that back in high school these geniuses wouldn't even cut it as punching bags. Laughing at his friend's flex, the bald guy points out that the rookie Wang Tianchuo is already at a level his buddy could never even dream of. The veteran with glasses pulls up a file, showing his target is ridiculously strong, while the skinny dude says he's going hunting for a reader. Holding Su-hong's file, one soldier is super confused by his squad's tough targets, since this kid's level is pretty weak. Ticked off by his assignment, he holds up the paper, demanding to know why he got picked to ambush such fragile trash. The leader snaps back with zero patience, saying there was no mistake in picking the soldier for the night up. The old veteran walks in with his hands in his pockets, keeping a hardcore scowl that instantly shuts everybody up. Breaking the heavy tension, the whole squad is shocked, asking what kind of freak can fight so well with such low energy. The long-haired soldier sighs, complaining he's right on the edge of leveling up, but got called in just to bully some junior. Having absolutely no patience, the Grand Master puts his hand out, telling the guys to stop whining and just go fight. Taking the order personally, the Irangoon asks if the old man is going to punish him if he accidentally cripples the student. The leader flashes a creepy smile, promising to reward him if he breaks the kid, leaving the soldier sweating bullets. Getting their cruel orders, the merc squad leaps hard off the catwalks, kicking off their ruthless night mission. The quiet late night covers the empty streets and massive rooftops of the military training camp. Gliding fast through the shadows, the assigned soldier moves across the roof, totally locked onto his target. Sleeping peacefully, Su-hong wakes up terrified and yells at the invisible intruder to hold up so he can at least put some underwear on. With his alarm bells ringing, the kid hops out of bed super fast, already grabbing his winter clothes so he doesn't fight off guard. He throws on his jacket in a blur while sizing up the danger of this random ambush at his door. The window glass shatters violently as the merc bursts into the room, tearing through the air super aggressively. Dropping from above, the enemy swings a sword glowing with purple energy, launching a crushing slash straight at the floor. Sliding backwards, our hero figures this surprise attack must be from enemy races trying to wipe out the human geniuses. Without blinking, he snatches his spear off the wall and drops into a combat stance, waiting to see what this hitman is really made of. The veteran fires off another glowing attack, mocking the brat for having the worst luck ever running into him tonight. Blocking the heavy energy, the boy realizes the enemy is a high-level human, not some beast in disguise. A hyped smile takes over Su-hong's face as he sarcastically tells the dude he showed up at the absolute perfect time. Spinning his spear like a pro, the rookie calculates that taking this soldier down will pay out the exact points he needs to class up. The merc frowns, totally confused why a weak brat chose to fight back instead of just running for his life in a panic. In a savage clash, the spear brutally meets the purple sword, throwing destructive sparks all over the bedroom. Taking the impact, the invader realizes the kid's strength is totally ridiculous and admits the master wasn't lying about him. Sweat drips down the veteran's face as he starts fully panicking, thinking this power level is unreal for a beginner. Pressing hard with a brutal red aura, Su-hong talks trash, saying he's already wrecked high-level NPCs before with zero issues. Letting out all his pent-up rage, our hero lets out an ear-piercing yell as he shoves the enemy's weapon back. With a massive burst of physical strength, he drives the spear forward, breaking the defense and launching the soldier away like trash. The veteran jumps super high, creating a giant ring of purple energy, and dares the brat to try and tank his Class B attack. Swinging the brutal downward strike, the merc screams in rage, unleashing the crushing power of his flaming slash. The boy gathers an intense aura of lightning and notes that this power is way stronger than the piercing finger, even though both are the same class. The strikes clash brutally, scattering destructive sparks across every inch of the camp bedroom. The sheer force of the impact shatters the floor, launching chunks of concrete everywhere. Backed by the shockwave, the merc slides backward, trying his best not to wipe out. He's left totally confused, since attributes rejecting each other is an absolute fact that every warrior knows perfectly well. Staring down the rookie, the hitman figures out that it's a fusion of thunder and fire. A move he thought was just a myth. Right then, our MC's eyes glow intensely as he winds up for his next aggressive play. Su-hong charges in full throttle, dropping a violent spear attack that sends the invader into full-blown panic. Unleashing intense flames, our hero tears through the air, pulling off his feared flaming slash. The merc tries to dodge the lethal blow, but his defense instantly crumbles under the heavy attack. With a crushing hit, the newbie sinks the spear, spawning a massive pillar of destructive energy. Taking the heavy blow dead on, the soldier spits red, absolutely stunned by that completely ridiculous power level. The veteran's body gets launched with extreme violence, blasting right through the building's wall and outside. Standing in the middle of the wreckage, our hero watches the system screen confirm he bagged the martial points for the W. Checking out his updated stats, he celebrates that he finally got the exact amount to become a spiritual reader. Outside the dorms, the evaluation crew and instructors rush over to the explosion site. The Grandmaster assumes Su Hong is probably already down, mentioning he even prepped speeches to talk the kid out of his multi-training. Suddenly, a guy's body drops from the hole in the wall, smashing into the ground right in front of the group. The loud crash spooks the instructors, who stare at the knocked-out dude kicking up dust on the pavement. They instantly recognize the bloody, beat-up face of the veteran they sent on the surprise op. Totally floored by the scene, the old leader yells the merc's name, unable to believe he actually lost. The supervisor's jaw drops as she figures out the rookie somehow beat the elite soldier totally solo. Right after that, 3 more flashes explode from the nearby buildings, launching other invaders into the air. The goons crash violently into the courtyard, marking the complete and total fail of the night op. The trio of veterans assigned to ambush the camp's big superstars also ends up smashed on the sidewalk. Walking out of the building, the brute tells the Grandmaster to send someone stronger next time, since that guy didn't even count as a warm-up. But the big guy quickly notices 4 bodies on the ground and thinks the math is looking a little weird. Floating in her bubble, the girl wonders who managed to win faster than them, guessing their opponent must have been super weak. The instructor shuts down her theory, firmly stating that the soldier over there is by far the most dangerous out of the whole group. Analyzing the mess, the old man thinks it's normal for prodigies to win, but a rookie humiliating a higher-level fighter that fast is insane. Hooked by the mystery, the leader tries to guess if the kid used top-tier skills or some special physical build. Suddenly, a staffer comes sprinting across the yard in a panic, yelling that a massive problem just went down. Keeping his cool, the veteran tells the guy to breathe and coldly asks if some student accidentally died. The supervisor denies it out of breath and reveals the hero beat the merc using a fused orientation technique. Very chill, the Grandmaster recalls the boy wanted to test all 7 elements and thinks it's normal he figured out how to use something. But a millisecond later, it finally clicks and the old man's brain just straight up short circuits. Completely losing his cool, the veteran grabs the staffer by the collar, demanding to know if he actually fused fire and thunder. Scared for his life, the guy swears he saw it all on the cams and tells him to ask the knocked-out soldier if he thinks it's a lie. Tossed on the sidewalk, the beat-up merc mumbles, confirming he got hit with a double whammy of fire and electricity. Shaking the poor guy, the old man yells that the only genius in history took 10 years to do that, while this rookie has been training for less than a month. He lets go of the staffer, screaming at the sky that this student is an absolute monster and a legendary dragon of humanity. Trying to make sense of the freak-out, the instructor asks if a fusion like that is really strong enough to cancel out such a huge level gap. Curious about the reveal, she asks why the association doesn't push this practice if the final result is so brutal. The leader explains tons of people tried, but the extreme difficulty ends up wrecking the fighter's body and hard, locking their level forever. Mesmerized by the genius, he points out the kid has all 7 affinities, imagining the apocalyptic power of fusing them all into one strike. The old man pictures our hero crushing the greatest emperors of enemy races with a single, multi-colored attack of devastating force. One of the instructors kills the vibe, saying the boss is overhyping it way too much since fusing even 2 elements is basically impossible. Believing his own theory, the Grandmaster swallows hard, realizing if the kid gets stuck on the 3rd element, humanity loses an absolute genius. Just then, the camera guy points out that the MC's physical strength totally crushed the soldier's nearly 500 vitality points. The woman agrees, stating his raw damage output blows the cocky big guy's famous barbarian god structure completely out of the water. Wasting 0 time, the old man orders a test fight for tomorrow morning, throwing the 3 top prodigies to face off against him. Overflowing with confidence, the veteran swears he wants to watch the circus burn when this anomaly takes on the camp's elite. Meanwhile, in the isolated room, the cold night wind blows right through the massive hole busted in the concrete wall. Ignoring the mess and the shattered glass on the floor, the kid meditates deep, fully locked in on his own spiritual evolution. Determined to rank up, he taps the panel screen and dumps every single martial point he hoarded straight into his mental stat. A wave of pure energy wraps around the young guy's body as he celebrates being right on the edge of awakening the highly coveted spiritual reader class. Closing his eyes, he feels this bizarre pressure taking over his mind while a whitish aura floods the room. Projecting a giant hand made of pure light, he describes the weird feeling as if he just grew a 3rd ghost arm. The system beeps, confirming he broke the limit, and the fighter chills out, making the glowing arm vanish into thin air. Super happy with his newly discovered strength, he locks his eyes hard on the broken pieces of his own spear. Pushing his mind further, he makes the weapon float around the room, hyped that he can finally use mind powers, just like the camp's prodigy. Plotting his next moves, the hero promises himself he's gonna steal both her mental technique and the big guy's offensive skill. The next morning, the bass speakers blare, demanding everyone assemble in the courtyard in 1 minute or lose precious points. The warning sends the recruits into a total panic as they start sprinting like crazy down the dorm stairs. The crowd runs, complaining they barely survived the brutal training and the midnight ambush, thinking this pace is actual insanity. In just seconds, the massive mob of students lines up on the open field, waiting for the strict instructor's next orders. Rolling up totally chill and unbothered, our MC finishes zipping his jacket to face the new evaluation. A gray-haired officer praises the group's speed, happy that nobody was a single second late for roll call. Chuckling sarcastically, the man admits he expected a bunch of them to be too broken to even get out of bed after last night's scare. Pissed off, one guy excuses his loss by saying the merc played dirty and attacked before he could even put his underwear on straight. The officer shoots down the lame excuse, asking if a real hitman would wait for him to get dressed nicely before taking him out. The classmates bust out laughing and show zero mercy for the embarrassment, dubbing the poor dude brother underwear. Right in front of everyone. Suhong gets the harsh lesson, but thinks getting jumped at night after a hellish day of hunting would leave anyone super frustrated. Hearing their complaints, the instructor announces loudly that he's giving them a second chance to prove what they're actually made of. The officer details that this intensive test will measure every vital stat, and even the technical mastery of every genius in the military camp. The instructor announces that after the test, there's going to be a real combat ranking, handing out daily points to the top 10. The crowd immediately murmurs that the top 3 spots are already locked, but they get hyped to try and grab whatever's left in the top 10. Strolling chill through the yard, Suhong thinks about the general test and gets super curious about what the grand prize for first place is going to be. Demanding everyone shut up, the instructor orders all the students to follow him straight to the camp's testing zone. The huge group of kids walks into the spacious warehouse and lines up in front of the heavy-strength monitoring machines. Watching the mob from a distance, Grandmaster Kyun notices our MC knows exactly how to blend in without drawing any attention. Catching the old man looking, Lin Sing thinks the veteran is checking him out, but a classmate quickly shuts him down, saying he's definitely mistaken. Cocky about his own talent, the snob stubbornly swears to himself that he's the only one worthy of the camp leader's attention. Ren, the instructor, drops a last-minute surprise, promising the first-place student gets to pick any rank A technique they want. The crowd goes absolutely wild at the news, betting that the big guy Wang Tianchu and the other 2 geniuses are going to have their lives to win that insane prize. The brute thinks over the reward, remembering that skills at that level are so rare that even his powerful family barely has any. Overflowing with confidence, the red-haired girl gets hyped at the idea of picking any top-tier technique if she dominates the tournament. Meanwhile, Lin Sing plans to use the prize to turbocharge his luxury movement skill, wanting to prove that extreme speed is definitely not useless. Hearing the high-value offer, our hero's eyes glow intensely as he vows to give it his all to snatch that free technique. The testing gear fires up in the center of the room, charging up a massive golden energy ready to measure the candidate's raw strength. The Prodigy girl steps up, slicing through the air, and fires her attack squarely at the measuring equipment. A colossal sword of golden energy sinks into the machine, setting off a violent boom that shakes the floor of the entire room. The digital board blinks super fast and locks in at 5,942 power points. The students are completely floored, seeing her strength almost double in no time, proving that spiritual readers are ridiculously explosive. Our MC watches everything, dying of jealousy, blown away by her flexibility to levitate and spawn objects mid-fight. The glowing aura keeps pulsing around the girl, flexing her perfect mastery of the mental skill in front of everybody. Suhong figures this technique can even materialize wild beasts, but burns through an insane amount of mental power to keep the physical shape. Feeling a slight pressure in his own mind, he realizes he just doesn't have the spiritual energy to copy this skill right now. Putting off the learning session for later, the boy shifts his focus back to the arena just as the muscular big guy gears up for his test. The crowd goes wild, calling the giant the true god of combat, betting everything on the raw strength of his crushing physique. Hooked on the challenge, our hero wonders what the real power gap is between this guy's barbarian body and his own extreme physical build. Staring down the machine, Wang Qianchuo tells everyone to pay close attention because this one punch is going to prove his absolute superiority. The brute launches a monstrous hit against the target, kicking up a violent shockwave that sweeps across the testing zone. Totally in disbelief, the students panic, seeing a purely physical attack almost match the score of an advanced technique. Checking the results on the screen, the Grandmaster nods, super satisfied with the raw level of his top recruits. Thanking the leader for the praise, the brute guarantees the show isn't over yet and gears up to use his real combat technique. Our hero locks in, hyped that he's finally going to see his rival's Class A offensive skill in action. A pale, ghostly flame wraps around the giant's hand, gathering a terrifying amount of destructive energy. He charges, tearing up the arena floor, and fires a strike coated in some scary spiritual fire. Recognizing the move instantly, the veteran calls it the feared Bone Ghost's Fire Punch. Su-hong remembers seeing this exact skill in the catalog and gets mad that it costs an absolute fortune in contribution points. The massive attack slams into the machine, setting off a ridiculous explosion that lights up the whole training facility. With the board showing over 7,000 points, the crowd is shocked, realizing this strength is close to a mid-stage warrior standard. The Grandmaster glazes the guy, saying his family is finally gonna get the high-level master they've been dreaming of. Wrapping that up, the old man points at the crowd, calling Su-hong to be the next one to face the machine's challenge. The whole class feels bad for the poor guy, thinking that going up right after those monstrous performances is going to be the biggest embarrassment of his life. Ignoring the gossip, the MC steps in front of the gear and double-checks with the instructors that the first hit should only be physical strength. Dropping into a solid stance, the kid spreads his legs and starts channeling all his brutal force right into his arm muscles. He takes a long, deep breath, clearing his mind and locking his total focus right on the center of the armored target. In a flash, the fighter sinks his fist with terrifying violence, ensuring the test's grand prize is already his. The insane force of the hit shatters the air in the room, blasting dust and debris backward with a totally ridiculous boom. The digital display flashes like crazy and locks onto a monstrous score of 6,551 points. Shook by the number, the glasses-wearing evaluator drops his clipboard, admitting he completely underestimated this kid's level. A dead silence takes over the entire warehouse, with students frozen, unable to believe what their own eyes are seeing. The screaming kicks off right after, with the crowd assuming the machine is busted and naming the newbie the camp's new monster. The elite trio sweats bullets, feeling the raw pressure, admitting they were way too cocky and that his strength level feels like a higher-tier warrior's. Completely ignoring the chaos, our hero Chili asks the Grandmaster if he can go ahead and use a special technique now. Getting the thumbs up from the leader, the boy widens his stance, planting his feet to wind up his second and final hit on the target. His mental space kicks in, pushing his training into overdrive and making his mastery of the skill shoot up in seconds. Bathed in ghostly flames, the fighter celebrates that the fire punch fits him perfectly and is super easy to learn. The instructor walks up to the Grandmaster, doubting the kid can pull a high score since poor families rarely have strong techniques. With a smirk, the old veteran bets against him, dying to see what kind of wild card the Prodigy is about to drop. Su-hong's eyes glow intensely as the system confirms he successfully hit basic mastery of the skill. The students go into absolute shock, seeing the exact same spectral flame in the newbie's hands, and yell confused, wondering how he learned that. Hyped on the power bubbling in his veins, our MC steps up, promising to test the actual damage of that advanced technique. The shock of the punch caves in the gear's armor, spawning a colossal pillar of blue fire that slices through the whole warehouse. The wind from the punch drags the students backwards as they try desperately to see the final score of that apocalyptic attack. The panel flashes a mind-blowing 9,013 points, leaving the crowd screaming that this is already peak class 2 warrior tier. Holding the kid's outdated stats, the instructor calls the document total trash, while the Grandmaster declares him a certified monster. The genius trio swallows their pride, doing the math that to output that much damage the rookie must be hiding a secret vitality stat way over 500. Instantly, the whole class mobs the scanning pod, yelling that the health monitoring gear has got to be broken. Sitting chill in the capsule's high-tech water, our hero shows a real vitality of just 137, breaking every rule of logic. The crowd completely loses it, asking if the screen is missing a zero, unable to accept that a physically weak fighter just caused that much impact. Totally glued to the scene, the Grandmaster stares at the Prodigy's readings, his eyes locked on the glowing screen without blinking. Shutting down the chatter, the old man demands immediate silence and announces the 1v1 fights for the combat rankings are starting right now. The leader explains the fights will be direct challenges, guaranteeing the class a prize to whoever stays standing without anyone else daring to fight them. Flashing a wicked, cocky smile, Lin Sing raises his voice over the crowd, grabbing the veteran's attention. Showing absolutely zero fear, the snob steps right up to our MC and declares he wants to trade punches with him in the arena. The suit straight up says he's going to use his speed to dodge everything and beat the hero just by gassing him out, since his vitality is pathetic. Hearing the rich kid's cowardly game plan, the Grandmaster leans back in his chair and laughs, rejecting the idea on the spot, shocking the whole crew. Surprising everybody, the Grandmaster suggests the elite trio should fight the boy all at the same time. The suit gets mad, asking if the old man is underestimating them, while the brute jokes he's just worried about accidentally crippling the newbie. Ignoring the tantrum, the veteran asks for the MC's take, and he stays totally chill, saying he has absolutely no problem with it. The giant asks if the kid seriously thinks he has an easy win. Pissed, Lin Sing calls him arrogant and swears he can gas the hero out all by himself. Wasting no time, the leader greenlights the match as the competitors step into the massive arena. The suit immediately rushes in, slicing the air at top speed and leaving his two teammates behind. Cocky as ever, he plans to land a fast hit and back off to ambush later, absolutely positive the hero can't keep up with his fast footwork. But the red-haired girl spots the terrifying threat and screams in a panic, telling her teammate to dodge right now. Catching a massive jump scare, the rich kid suddenly finds the rookie popping out of nowhere right beside him. Su-hong just gives a cold goodbye and is already winding up a punch fully loaded with electrical energy. The fast strike hits the opponent dead on, giving him absolutely zero chance to put up a guard. With the violent impact, the suit's body is launched far away, completely wrapped in destructive lightning. He manages to stick the landing, sliding on the floor, and thanks the girl for the heads up, warning that the newbie's speed is way too dangerous. Right then, our hero feels a weird vibe locking down his body and admits it's his first time dealing with this kind of mind control. Sizing up the spiritual restriction, the boy quickly figures out the enemy squad's cowardly strategy. Determined to shatter their formation, the MC rushes in hard, totally focused on taking out the spiritual reader first. The girl goes into shock, instantly recognizing the exact luxury movement technique the newbie is using. The snob also sees his own move being copied and guesses the hero has dual attributes, screaming for his partner to stop him fast. Taking the front line, the brute tells his ally to focus on mind control, while he handles the heavy lifting with pure brute force. The giant gathers ghostly flames on his fist and launches his advanced attack at the target. Surprising everybody, our hero summons the exact same spectral fire technique, ready for the clash. Using the distraction, the girl raises her hand and drops a heavy spell, ordering the enemy to freeze right there. The green energy traps the MC's body, and he admits this mental lock is way more annoying than he originally thought. Seeing the guard wide open, the rich kid drops from above, throwing a super aggressive flying kick. Watching it all, the Grandmaster thinks he pushed the challenge too far. He explains it's impossible to escape a spiritual reader without using mental power or ridiculous brute strength. The veteran figures the kid's physical stats aren't enough to break the magic, but gets a jump scare seeing the look of pure mockery on his face. In the blink of an eye, the young guy shatters the lock and counters the giant and the suit's double attack, launching them both away. The deafening impact clears the zone while our hero lands solid, radiating a completely destructive aura. Suffering the backlash of her broken magic, the girl spits red, totally in disbelief that he busted her control using nothing but raw muscle. Giving his enemies zero time to breathe, Su-hong snatches the snob by the ankle right out of the air. Using the rich kid's body like a literal sledgehammer, the fighter swings his opponent through the air with terrifying violence. Up in the stands, the crowd loses their mind seeing him block heavy attacks and break magic with just his muscles, dubbing the kid a human beast. Our hero tosses the suit aside without a single drop of mercy. Right after, he intercepts the giant's punch, grabbing his wrist with an iron grip. The brute totally panics as he gets lifted off the ground like he weighs nothing, screaming in desperation as he's thrown far away. Keeping his expression ice cold, the MC lands, dropping crushing pressure onto the court. In a ruthless attack, he slams the bodies of the suit and the giant straight into the concrete, triggering a colossal boom. The hit is so violent the big guy gets stuck in the cracked rocks, groaning in pain. The suit also spits red, completely wrecked in the middle of the crater that just formed. Watching the massacre, the entire crowd loses the color in their faces, shaking with pure terror. The students stare at the trail of destruction, thinking this show of brute force is way too cruel for just a training session. A guy with glasses almost falls backward, hugging his buddy, completely traumatized by what he just saw. Ignoring the audience, our hero drags the knocked out suit by the leg while walking straight toward his final opponent. The boy's eyes glow with intense predator energy, fully locked onto the spiritual reader. Absolutely terrified, the girl backs up, throwing her hands in the air, begging him to stay away and immediately giving up. The crowd goes into shock, confirming the ridiculous W. They can barely believe the strongest trio fell to one guy and officially label him a monster. Cutting through the chatter, the Grandmaster asks out loud if anyone else has the guts to challenge the rookie for the top spot. Beat up competitors back down instantly, scared of getting a worse beating, figuring only an idiot would try their luck now. With that, the veteran crowns Su-hong as the grand champ and tells the rest of the class to keep fighting for the remaining spots with the instructor. The leader tells the undefeated number 1 to follow him and grab his well-earned reward from the martial arts pavilion. The kid gets super hyped just thinking about getting his hands on another advanced class technique totally for free. Strolling through the chill courtyard, the old man admits he's had his eye on him since day one and asks why he hides his strength so much. Staying humble, the young guy explains he doesn't have a rich family to back him, and flexing too early would just put a massive target on his back. The Grandmaster laughs out loud, praising the kid's brain, and reveals he only set up this combat tournament to score resources for him. Teaching him how the world works, the old man says from now on he's got his back against any drama, so he just needs to focus on getting stronger. The duo soon walks into the traditional martial arts pavilion, where the veteran orders the receptionist to grab the special technique list ASAP. The leader advises the boy to look over the catalog super carefully. Trusting his master's wisdom, the rookie asks for a straight-up recommendation on what to pick. The old man asks what skills he already knows, and the young guy lists all his advanced fire, electric wind, and speed moves. The reality hits the Grandmaster hard as he instantly realizes the kid stole those skills just by watching the rich kid use them once. Sweating bullets from this bizarre discovery, the veteran glances at the student, silently confirming he just adopted a total freak of nature. The receptionist hands over the thick book, super curious to find out who this newbie is that's getting VIP treatment from the Supreme Leader. The veteran points at the book, suggesting that since he's already got attacks and dodges covered, he should grab a control skill called Flame Cage. He explains regular attacks just stick energy to the body, but control magic requires pushing power into the environment, which almost nobody can do right. Trying to make it an easy choice, the Grandmaster says he knows the move and will do a quick showcase right there in the room. Flexing total satisfaction, our MC thanks the old man for his help without spilling his actual sneaky plan. The veteran's hand glows with some seriously strong orange energy as he spawns flames right in the air. A complex fire cage takes shape, and the old guy warns the boy not to sleep on the move just because it doesn't deal heavy damage right away. The leader gestures, explaining the ultimate strategy is trapping the enemy with 0 escape routes before dropping the final attack. The glowing cage flies across the room, blowing up in a heat wave, proving this tactic guarantees a quick elimination. But the old man sighs, complaining that keeping the trap active while attacking is impossible for the boy right now, since he himself only pulled it off at a super high level. Faking being bummed out, our hero waves his hands, turning down the technique, and says if it's that hard, he'd rather grab something else. The Grandmaster thinks quitting that fast is weird, but feels relieved the kid actually listens to advice instead of being a stubborn, cocky genius. Super hyped about his trick, the young guy celebrates that he just stole the entire skill through his system just by watching, and asks the master for the next option. Flipping through the old pages, the veteran skips other styles and decides the only thing missing from the kid's kit is solid defense. He finally points to the perfect skill called Thick Earth Armor, a technique that creates an almost unbreakable spiritual shield around the body. Pumped by the idea, the boy agrees with the advice, figuring his physical strength combined with a defense buff will be insane. Holding the technique book, the veteran asks what the student's special physical build is, and he chilly replies it's the Overlord's body. The old man goes into shock, remembering that's the strongest physique ever. Meanwhile, our hero hopes making up that title will score him extra freebies. But the Grandmaster quickly mentions he's never heard that name before. Out of options, the young guy admits he just made it up on the spot. Getting his composure back, Kyun judges the kid's strength is terrifying for blocking the giant so easily, something completely unheard of for a beginner. Suddenly, the camp leader starts stuttering, looking like he just realized something ridiculously important. Right then, his phone rings, and the old man picks up annoyed, saying he's busy, but the staffer reports something scary about the fight logs. Hanging up, Kyun asks if the rookie fought the elite squad wearing a weighted vest. Our hero nods, saying he didn't want to miss out on the points. The veteran's heart almost jumps out of his chest as he tries to chill out, repeating to himself that this kid is a monster who completely ignores logic. Using common sense, the master tells him to forget the points and take the gear off right now, promising a bunch of future rewards. The fighter takes off his jacket and vest, warning the item is a bit heavy. The pavilion manager quickly offers to take the gear to storage. Super casually, our hero hands the dark equipment over to the woman. As soon as she takes the weight, the manager collapses to the floor, making the item crack the wooden floorboards with a violent boom. Pinned to the floor, the woman frantically asks how many kilos that thing is. Suhong casually replies it's just 5 tons. Sweating bullets at how ridiculous that is, the old man hugs the boy, calling him his little monster, and announces he's got one more Class A technique to give him. Curious about the gift, our MC immediately asks what kind of style this new skill is. The master explains it's the Thunder Spear technique, one of the absolute strongest and most destructive advanced attacks out there. Kyun recalls a rival from another city uses a spear, suggesting the boy challenge his student to steal the technique. The young guy asks if that's really okay. Ticked off, the old man says his rival talked trash about his camp, so he's planning to get payback tomorrow morning. The kid is down for the plan instantly. The chill night rolls in, lighting up the windows of the modern dorm building. Walking into his own room, our hero is glad the cleaning crew already dealt with all the mess from the last fight. The system confirms he got the 2 new skills. Focused, he sits on the floor, determined to master the basics of both before sunrise. The next morning in a fancy office, Grandmaster Jiang gets a call from Kyun telling him to prep his spear technique for a challenge. Acting tough, Jiang tells his buddy to drop it, bragging that his camp just trained a level 2 wood attribute genius. The veteran keeps flexing, revealing his student learned a crazy control magic after just 2 days of training. In the testing zone, the green-haired Prodigy gathers a violent aura, winding up his move. He casts Wood Prison, spawning massive roots that crush a metal chair in the arena. Right after, the green branches dissolve into the air, turning into glowing particles. The kid whines in frustration that he failed again. Watching the session, Master Jiang reminds him that control magic is tough and tells him to be patient. Dripping with pure arrogance, Prodigy Lin Chunfeng swears that in just a month he'll hit basic perfection with the strike. Trash talking on the phone, Jiang brings up that it took Kyun months to learn it, and states his prodigy is too good to be challenged by some random trash. Kyun tries to scream back furiously over the line, but his rival just hangs upright in his face. Turning to his student, Jiang tells him not to beat the challenger too fast, and to fake a close fight so they don't humiliate their guest. Spawning claws of green energy, the cocky young guy promises his master can completely trust his acting skills. By the afternoon of the next day, the sun shines over the massive, isolated camp of the rival city. The loud roar of propellers breaks the quiet area as the helicopter touches down smoothly at the base. Hopping out of the chopper, our MC stares at the flying Dutchins. He didn't expect his first flight to be this intense. The 2 guests take a chill walk across the dirt yard, staring down the welcoming crew. Walking up full of sarcasm, Master Jiang demands to see what kind of genius his old rival brought for the match. Cool as a cucumber, Kyun introduces our hero, pointing out he uses a spear and is only at the beginning of Class 1. Jiang busts out laughing, asking if his buddy is going senile for treating a low-level beginner like some top-tier treasure. The green-haired Prodigy figures the level gap means an instant W, thinking it's going to be impossible to pretend the fight is actually tough. Ignoring the roast, veteran Keen tells them to just start the fight because he plans to head home early for dinner. The whole group moves to a massive outdoor combat arena, where the students usually grind their training. Up in the stands, the local recruits gossip, crossing their fingers that the visiting challenger isn't a total flop. In the center of the yard, the local leader grabs everyone's attention to introduce the famous visiting grandmaster. Pointing to the side, he introduces the kid as the big challenger, while our hero gives a friendly wave. Purposely looking annoyed, Jiang makes sure to announce loudly that the rookie is barely starting level 1. The whole crowd bursts into laughter, saying their idol is going to crush the boy with one hand tied behind his back and roasting the outsider's guts. Sweating bullets, the green-haired Prodigy racks his brain trying to figure out how to purposely fight badly without looking totally fake. Confident in his student, the local master promises to teach his technique if the kid actually wins. Kyun pretends to be embarrassed by the whole setup. Jiang pats our hero on the shoulder, hyping him up to give it his best in the arena. The young guy politely thanks him for the shot. Giving his rival back pats, old Kin calls his buddy a great guy, while Jiang totally doubts a beginner can actually pull off a win. Skipping the small talk, the 2 fighters step into the center of the massive stone court, grabbing everyone's attention. The local Prodigy pulls his sharp sword, telling the rookie not to sweat it because he's going to hold back his strength. He drops into a relaxed stance with his weapon, waiting for the challenger to get ready to throw down. Totally stressed about the act, Lin thinks about the huge risk of accidentally taking out the weak opponent with one lucky hit. Noticing the boy is empty-handed, the green-haired guy asks why he isn't using the spear he literally brought with him. Keeping totally chill, our MC puts his fists up and says he doesn't need to use his weapon just yet. Honestly, he figures his spear skills are way weaker than his punches, so using the weapon would actually put him at a huge disadvantage. Reading his chill vibe completely wrong, the rich kid flashes a crazy smirk, calling the newbie a seriously cocky brat. He charges in, cutting across the arena super aggressively, saying he wants to see where all that arrogance comes from. Closing the gap in a flash, the swordsman locks onto his target, ready for the first clash. The Prodigy slams his blade into the ground, unleashing a massive green shockwave across the zone. Using his fast wind steps, the hero slides backwards, dodging the lethal attack without breaking a sweat. The guy goes into shock, instantly recognizing his opponent's advanced movement skill. Getting his swagger back, the swordsman flashes a sneaky smile, thinking the surprise is actually pretty cool. Reaching his hand forward, Lin declares that fast dodging is completely useless against his magic. He clenches his fist hard, releasing pure energy as he casts the wood prison spell. Thick roots burst from the ground surrounding the boy, who immediately spots it as a martial control technique. Our MC gets that the rival really is a prodigy for knowing this, but decides to use pure brute force to shatter the spell. Bathed in intense lightning, the rookie literally just kicks the roots, blowing the trap to pieces right on the spot. Completely confused, the hero has no idea what's going on, thinking it's super weird that advanced magic broke that easily. Taking advantage of the distraction, Lin jumps with his sword raised, screaming that locking down the enemy for a single second is all he needs. Keeping his eyes sharp, Su-hong turns his head, staring down the lethal charge with absolute ice, cold precision. With his fist wrapped in aggressive wind energy, Su-hong winds up his counter. RMMC glides through the air with crazy agility, dodging the root magic like it's nothing. Lin Chunfing panics when he realizes the rookie's punch is way too fast and is gonna hit him first. Without a second thought, the Prodigy spams his advanced dodge technique, trying to bail out. Right then, our hero charges like a literal rocket, ripping through the air and leaving a trail of destruction on the ground. The charge is so ridiculous that the windstorm triggers a shockwave across the camp courtyard. Pushed back by the chase, the rich kid tries to keep his cool, totally blown away by his opponent's brutal strength. Completely bored by the enemy's useless running, the rookie decides this game is getting pathetic. Up in the stands, the crowd is totally lost, not understanding how a basic beginner's strength can break a rank 2 defense. Laughing at the mess, Master Jiang rubs it in Qin's face that pure brute force is never gonna beat his special student. But ignoring the audience, our MC firmly plants the sole of his sneaker onto the arena floor. Himself, he takes off with a jump so violent, it literally shatters the stone floor. The impact of the launch causes a deafening boom, kicking up tons of dust all over the place. A dark trail gets left behind, leaving the students speechless at that crazy speed marriage. Desperate as the rookie closes in fast, the Prodigy figures out the hero also has an advanced movement skill. Dust flies everywhere as the chaotic charge keeps sweeping the battlefield. Our MC tells his rival to just give up, admitting that pushing a beginner this far is already enough to prove his worth. Confused by the sudden stop, Lin is clueless when he sees his opponent just chilly hold out his hand. He goes into pure panic mode when the rookie clenches his fist, summoning a concentrated storm of flames. In a flash, a massive fire trap pops up in the middle of the court, cutting off every escape route. Completely trapped, the rich kid gets a jump scare realizing he's caught in advanced control magic. Even while shook, he assumes the skill will just fizzle out on its own, since a beginner doesn't have the gas to keep it going. Watching the scene, Grandmaster Qin is absolutely mind blown that his student mastered the cage at such a low level. Confused by his buddy's freakout, Jiang asks why he's so shocked, considering Qin is the one who taught him the magic. Hiding his surprise, the veteran overhears another instructor, saying that mastering 2 attributes isn't even that weird. However, the leader sweats bullets, wondering why the flaming prison hasn't collapsed in the yard yet. The whole arena watches the newbie spark a white electric flash while keeping the trap burning with 0 effort. Lin drops in absolute terror at the insane possibility that his enemy can trap and attack at the exact same time. Confirming his rival's worst nightmare, Su-hong tells him he guessed right and readies his attack. The devastating strike fires straight at the fire shield, aiming to completely vaporize the prisoner inside. Desperate to stay alive, the Prodigy spawns thick roots, trying to throw up an emergency shield. But the green barrier gets totally shredded by the pure, brute force of the enemy's attack. Using his sword to tank the damage, Lin gets dragged backward, cursing the crushing power of that hit. Capitalizing on the wide-open guard, our MC rushes in, totally focused on beating the opponent down with no mercy. Straight punch nails the rich kid right in the face with pure violence, making his blood spray through the air. The green-haired boy loses his balance, getting tossed away by the brutality of the impact. With his clothes ripped up, he manages to stay on his feet in the middle of the burning storm in the arena. Instantly, a green, healing aura starts patching up the open wounds on his battered body. Overflowing with arrogance, the Prodigy demands our hero not sleep on the spiritual region of a wood body. Watching the whole thing looking super bored, the rookie casually agrees that just one punch isn't gonna cut it. With his fists wrapped in aggressive flames, he states that the easy fix is just to hit him way more. The fighter unleashes a crazy barrage of hits, making sure that miracle healing isn't gonna hold up. Bleeding from the rapid attacks, Lin bets that a beginner's stamina will never outlast his own energy. He challenges the hero, wanting to see who's going to tap out first in this hardcore survival test inside the fire. During his internal energy is running low, Su-hong stops the combo, backing up to get some distance. The flaming trap vanishes into thin air, freeing the exhausted opponent from that burning prison. Letting out a hysterical laugh, the Prodigy celebrates the end of the spell and swears he's going to end the newbie's life. But the hype dies fast when he panics, feeling an absurdly heavy pressure coming off his enemy. Covered in massive golden lightning bolts, Su-hong admits he didn't want to spam an attack that burns so much energy. Shaking with pure terror, the rich kid despairs over how a beginner can generate such monstrous power. Then knowing he's in fatal danger, he slams his hands into the ground, screaming that he can't let the hero get close no matter what. In a pathetic attempt to save his own skin, Lin desperately spawns giant wooden barriers. Slicing through the defenses like they're wet paper, our MC shatters the green shields with an unstoppable charge. The massive electric hit nails the target with terrifying violence, piercing through any leftover defense. A colossal pillar of lightning swallows the Prodigy, triggering an apocalyptic explosion right in the middle of the stone court. Lin's totally knocked out body is launched into the air like a broken ragdoll from the impact. Sticking an extremely stylish landing, the winner stands tall without a scratch in the middle of the heavy smoke and battlefield wreckage. A dead silence takes over the entire military base, showing off the absolute humiliation of the home team. The crowd is in disbelief that a starting stage student pulled off the insane damage of a rank S technique. Completely furious over the embarrassment, Master Jiang screams, demanding to know what kind of freak his rival brought here. Dripping with pure satisfaction, Kun rubs it in his rival's face that the kid perfectly mastered attribute fusion. Sipping his tea chilly, the old man talks trash, saying his student only took a month to learn that brutal trick. He keeps bragging, dropping the bomb that our hero trains 7 attributes at once while keeping his affinity maxed out. Faking a fake apology, the veteran chuckles, saying he accidentally let too much slip. Master Jiang freezes in horror, trying to process the level of that completely unreal and unfair talent. Riding the colleague's shock, Kun cashes in the bet immediately, demanding the spear and the electric palm as his prize. The scene fast cuts to a massive, ultra-modern, and totally isolated training dome. Inside, Su-hong waits patiently for his next instructions from the defeated Master Jiang in the circular arena. Checking the kid out up close, the veteran silently admits he's never run into a freak this big in his entire life. Gripping the heavy metal shaft, the man shows off his legendary Sky Breaker Divine Spear technique. Wrapped in heavy lightning, he explains the skill has 9 moves split into 3 forms of destruction. The master claims he'd usually only teach this to level 4 fighters, but promises the hero's talent is going to make it easy. Dropping into a flawless combat stance, he tells the kid to pay close attention to the first strike of the combo. With a fast spin, the veteran fires the first form, spawning a colossal wall of pure blue energy across the court. Giving zero room to breathe, Jiang executes the second move, landing an even more violent and thunderous impact. The showcase rolls on with a massive wave of pure electricity flooding the entire training room. Holding his weapon tight, Su-hong feels like he's just a tiny boat in a storm, and even a drop of that lightning could flip him over. Master Jiang doesn't miss a beat and charges in, nailing the third form of his destructive style. Jumping super high, the veteran calls out the Sky Destroying Strike and brings the spear down with brutal violence. The impact spawns a giant tornado of thunder that rips through the whole room with overwhelming power. Watching the carnage, the rookie notices the leader held back a ton of strength on that last hit, so he didn't collapse the building. Even feeling like a bug next to that strength, he's totally confident that one day he's gonna have that exact same combat power. The dust finally clears, showing the 2 warriors standing in the middle of the modern sim arena. Handing over a device, the veteran explains that all the technique instructions are on there and says he's around for any questions. The kid genuinely thanks him for the help, but the master cuts the politeness, reminding him the bet has to be honored without doing any favors. Keeping his word, Jiang promises to teach the lightning palm skill as soon as the young guy masters the first form of the spear. Our MC's eyes light up knowing the punch is even stronger, and he decides to go all in on learning the weapon fast. Saying he has business to handle with Grandmaster Chun, the instructor says goodbye, promising to come back later to check on his progress. A whole hour goes by with the sun beating down on the massive glass dome of the isolated training center. Opening the door, Jiang asks Chili if the kid got the hang of it, assuring him there's no rush since it usually takes months. Suddenly, an intense golden flash explodes right in the middle of the court, giving the arriving veteran a jump scare. Our hero is training like a madman, surrounded by aggressive lightning, pulling off the technique flawlessly with his spear. He turns to the master, admitting the style is super hard and that so far he's only managed to nail the basics. Flexing his confidence, the rookie shamelessly asks to learn the lightning palm right now. Master Jiang freezes up, sweating bullets, completely mind-blown and wondering if this bizarre talent is actually real. Outside, the late afternoon vibe gently lights up the modern buildings of the military base. Still inside the arena, the veteran stays frozen in place, trying to process the absolute shock. Grandmaster Kyun walks in, asking why his buddy is spacing out instead of teaching the promised technique. Demanding answers, Kyun accuses his rival of holding back, since there's no way the kid could learn the move without guidance. Stuttering nervously, Jiang points at the court, mumbling that the kid probably already figured it all out by himself. Wrapped in pure electricity, Su Hong excitedly confirms he finally mastered the new advanced rank skill. Both leaders stare at the kid in shock. Kyun admits he tried to prepare himself, but didn't expect him to be this fast. Recalling he was called a genius for taking 3 months to do it, the old man realizes the boy's potential has literally no limits. Changing the subject to hide the shock, Kyun invites his buddy for a drink and mentions they already set up a temporary room for the kid. The dark night takes over the camp, covering the huge dorm building in total silence. Sitting on the stiff mattress, Su Hong does the math, figuring that beating the elite trio paid out some solid martial points for his system. Checking the glowing interface, he notices his vital blood is super low, and he also needs to level up all his other stats. Locked into his strategy, our hero gets that his level is the foundation of everything and decides to max out his vital energy first. The young guy sighs in frustration seeing he doesn't have enough points, complaining that nobody else has the guts to challenge him to duels anymore. Staring at the moon through his window, he curses old Kin, thinking his master should have set up way more fights. Meanwhile, in the dining hall, Jiang complains angrily that the old man scammed him, stealing 2 elite techniques at once. The drama gets interrupted by an officer opening the door. Super relieved, she finally tracked down the 2 leaders. She rushes to say that the night training invasion is just waiting for the final green light to kick off. Kyun spits out his drink in pure shock, instantly remembering that his prodigy is asleep in those exact dorms. Freaking out over his huge mistake, Jiang orders her to cancel the op immediately, but the instructor says the raid already started. On the base rooftops, a masked merc asks leader Bu Jinglong why a martial artist as strong as him is even here. The soldier guesses he's just here to beat up some kid with a spiritual body on Master Jiang's orders. Jumping into the convo, another recruit mocks Jinglong, reminding him he got his butt kicked by a rookie in a similar ambush. The leader defends himself, saying he underestimated his opponent last time, and promises he'll never make that same mistake twice. Taking the front line, Jinglong pulls down his mask and orders the whole squad to attack with zero mercy. The crew of masked hitmen leaps from the shadows, tearing through the night wind, straight toward the dorms. In one of the hallways, a soldier tells the green-haired Prodigy to chill while he wraps up the easy job. Meanwhile, Jinglong busts into our MC's room, swearing he's going to teach the cocky rookie a harsh lesson. The veteran lunges, throwing a fist wrapped in yellow energy, aiming to crush the kid in the very first hit. Reacting just as fast, Su Hong clashes with his electric attack, setting off a bright explosion that eats up the room. The merc gets spooked by the insane resistance, feeling the crushing weight of the enemy's defense. Sliding backward from the impact, the invader curses in confusion, having no clue where all that power came from. The shockwave blasts both fighters straight into the hallway, right in front of the other merc and the green-haired kid. Seeing Su Hong's monstrous strength, the other invader suggests the local Prodigy team up to take down the target. But Lin Chunfing doesn't waste a second and throws his hands out, quickly summoning his wood prison in the hall. Thick roots explode from the floor, swallowing the second merc in a suffocating green trap. Riding the chaos, our MC shoots off like a lightning bolt, dodging the magic with his absolute max speed. With an aggressive leap, the hero sinks a straight punch that tears the air right at the ambush leader. The hit lands dead on, making the veteran's body violently crash into the cracked floor. The merc tries to get up, sweating bullets, and panics when he realizes the rookie is wearing a tough earth armor. Covered in purple energy, Su Hong charges relentlessly while Jinglong questions where the heck this rank 2 monster came from. Freaking out, the soldier turns his back and tries to make a run for it, sprinting desperately down the dark hall. But the fighter cuts him off in a split second, burying a brutal knee straight into the enemy's gut. The veteran spits red, completely losing all his strength and collapsing knocked out on the freezing floor. On the other side of the hall, the second merc also goes flying, knocked out by Lin Chunfing's crushing roots. Wrap up the fight, our hero stomps hard, breaking the floor in an explosion of pure, intimidating yellow force. Hiding behind the rubble, the green-haired Prodigy swallows hard, absolutely terrified by the monstrous mess. A bunch of martial points start popping up on the panel, while Su Hong stares at the body scattered across the trashed base. Checking the system screen, he smiles, pumped that he scored over 2,000 points, confirming he got rich in just one night. The next morning, the students show up in the training yard looking totally drained and beat up. Pointing at the wreckage, Master Jiang demands Chun take the blame for the destruction his prodigy caused on the base. Chun lifts his leg to block his rival's attack and snaps back, telling him to stop pretending he didn't smash things up too. Changing the topic, the old veteran asks if the boy still needs to learn attacks from the metal, wood, and water elements. With a sneaky smirk, Chun suggests visiting some old buddies, making it super clear he plans to run more dirty bets. Over the next 10 days, the duo hits up several camps, pulling the exact same scam and leaving a trail of defeated masters behind them. Total peace rules the training camp dorm while Su Hong chills under the daylight. Inside, the kid meditates hard, mastering the starter techniques for metal, wood, and water. He breathes a sigh of relief, finally hitting the basic level, for all three of these rank A martial arts. Checking out his system, the hero sees his massive stack of points and decides it's the perfect time to buff his vital energy. Immediately, a red aura wraps around the fighter's body as his vitality numbers start ticking up. The pressure spikes to an insane level, leaving our MC panting from the intensity of the evolution process. Hitting the goal, he celebrates that he's just a little bit away from breaking through and becoming a rank 2 martial artist. But the rookie hesitates, looking at his last 100 points, torn between boosting his spiritual status or his overlord physique. Curious to see what happens, he decides to risk it and buff his max physical frame. The system quickly chimes, confirming he just blew all 100 martial points in one go. The evolution hits the spiritual body milestone, but the percentage barely moves. The kid gets super annoyed seeing that all those points only gave him a tiny boost, realizing this build is way too hard to level up. Knowing he needs more resources, he grabs his jacket, saying he's heading to the beast room to farm more points. In the hallway, he bumps into Grandmaster Kyun and gets surprised by the leader's random visit. The old man asks if the student still needs a healing technique, as the scene cuts to the freezing Hangzhou camp. At the new spot, Grandmaster Wang Qingshan announces that mountain training means surviving for 7 days with 0 supplies. The veteran emphasizes that points only drop when killing beasts of the same rank, hyping up the local geniuses before ordering them to march out. Following the strict order, the students move out fast across the dark rocks of the freezing mountain. Watching them go, Kyun claps back at the local master, reminding him that if Su Hong wins the bet, Wang has to teach him the healing skill. The host takes the deal, super confident that the newbie will never manage to beat all of his rank 2 students. Wang even suggests keeping the danger a secret from the rookies for now, since celestial race terrorists are snooping around the area. With 0 pity for the kids, old Kyun asks how they're ever going to get strong if they don't face extreme hardships in a brutal war. The Hangzhou leader just sighs, acknowledging the heavy and cold truth of the martial world. Deep in the hostile woods, Su Hong charges in firing his spear, promising to make it back alive just like the Grandmaster asked. He unleashes a devastating golden slash that sweeps the air and shatters everything around him in the blink of an eye. The violent energy sinks into a monster's carcass, decapitating the wild beast with a clean, brutal hit. Keeping the combo alive, our hero casts a vine chokehold, pinning a massive snake to the trees to finish it off. Chaining his attacks, he summons a crushing water dragon that runs over a giant bear, kicking up snow and rocks. Walking through a dark cave, the kid thinks about the ridiculous power of these new techniques, but spots a major problem. Spamming them burns way too much energy, but he sits on the ground satisfied since he already farmed enough points to level up. Outside, some shady guy in a red jacket walks suspiciously through the night forest. The invader stops dead, feeling a weird presence hanging in the thick mountain air. He stumbles on the body of a dead beast, surprised someone is hunting this deep into the danger zone. The guy yells, demanding the intruder hiding in the cave surrender right now if they want a painless death. With a sick look lit up by some bizarre energy, the villain threatens to eat his target alive if they try to fight back. He checks out the dead black tiger, guessing the beast killer must have the strength of a rank 2 or 3 martial artist. Busy deep in the cave, Su Hong judges the enemy's tone and figures this guy is definitely bad news. The boy hesitates, unsure if he can take down a rank 4 right now, even though he just broke through his own level. Deciding not to be prey, he rushes out like a lightning bolt covered in blue energy, planning to escape that tight spot fast. The villain notices the explosive movement coming from inside and preps for a lethal strike. With an evil smirk, the invader clenches his flaming fist, celebrating that the rat finally showed its face. But Su Hong catches him off guard, shattering the ground with a fast and sharp wind attack. The enemy slides back, dodging the hit, totally shocked to realize the kid is only an early stage rank 2. The guy charges in, sarcastically confessing that crushing lucky geniuses is his absolute favorite thing in the world. But the villain stops dead in his tracks, totally confused by his supposed victim's unexpected reaction. Stopping in the snow, Suhong grips his spear and asks in a sharp tone why the scumbag stopped running. The kid sizes up the enemy's power and confirms he's only a rank 3, admitting he totally gave him too much credit at first. Spotting the weird tattoo on his rival's neck, our MC identifies the logo of the multi-race demonic cult. He remembers these terrorists hate humanity and sacrifice innocent people for monstrous payouts. Overflowing with pure hate and wrapped in an intense aura, the hero swears trash like this enemy only deserves to bite the dust. The cultist pulls his flaming blade, finding the kid's guts hilarious, and dares the brat to try his luck. Unleashing a heavy vertical strike, the invader fires the Sky Sun Slash, sweeping the zone with thick flames. Not underestimating the fight, Suhong rushes in, determined to go all out for his very first brawl against a rank 3. The boy channels massive golden energy, spinning his spear to summon his devastating rank A technique. The storm of lightning and fire swallows the enemy's attack, completely wrecking the cultist's charge with a crushing impact. The villain loses the color in his face, completely in disbelief, seeing his own attack vanish like it was absolutely nothing. Pissed off, he wonders how he's losing ground when he's a whole level above his opponent. Consumed by rage, the guy charges, slicing the air, and curses the brat, claiming he's just begging to get taken out. Right then, a violent flash blinds the cultist, stopping his charge dead in its tracks in the middle of the snow. Our hero slides gracefully, planting his feet solid while a wall of lightning blocks the enemy from stepping up. The MC keeps a cold stare, totally unleashing the destructive power of his new martial form against the cornered target. Terrifying energy surrounds the cultist, who tries to back up, panicking as he admits this power is way stronger than his own technique. Suddenly, thick vines burst from the snow, locking the invader's leg in a tight, unforgiving grip. Desperate, the guy screams as he recognizes wood control after his opponent already used water and thunder. With zero escape, he gets totally swallowed by the deafening impact of the electric storm that eats up the mountain. The dust finally settles, showing a giant crater of shattered ice left by the ridiculous hit. Walking chill through the trail of destruction, Suhong tries to figure out if the enemy dodged using some weird hack. Nearby, pieces of dirt magically come together, rebuilding the heavily wounded cultist's body. The villain stands up panting, admitting he clashed with an absolute monster instead of just some regular human genius. With his chest glowing bright red, he glares at the rookie, swearing there's nowhere left to run now. A gross transformation takes over the enemy's body, growing tough scales and a purely demonic aura. Our hero braces for the worst, thinking this crazy mutation is nuts and figuring the cult gang completely lost their minds. The newly mutated monster digs his claws into the ground with blind rage, wanting to shred the kid right there. The two fighters slam their fists together brutally, shaking the ice cave from the crushing impact of the clash. Flying backward, the villain warns that if the sacrifice ritual finishes, he's going to turn into a ruthless, lethal celestial being. Wasting no time, Suhong raises his hand and quickly casts the flame cage magic, totally shocking the monster. The kid focuses the fire into his fist with a look of pure determination to finish off the enemy. Pillars of fire burst from the ground, trapping the bizarre creature in a burning circle with absolutely no way out. Capitalizing on the trap, our hero goes all in and fires the piercing spear destruction, tearing right through the enemy's defense. The golden weapon wrapped in electricity blows through the cultist's body with a devastating impact. A brutal energy explosion sweeps the entire cave, lighting the place up with an intense flash. With his body slowly falling apart, the villain pants in terror and calls the kid a monster. Right after, the creature's head totally shatters, turning into nothing but ash on the floor. Checking his system, the newbie is blown away seeing that the bounty for killing a cultist is massive compared to regular beasts. He immediately remembers the enemy talked about a sacrifice and suspects the gang probably already grabbed some humans. Realizing the immediate danger, the kid decides he needs to warn the Grandmaster ASAP. Meanwhile, at the isolated Hangzhou training camp, the leaders are already talking about the situation. Grandmaster Wang reveals that Suhong ran into the demonic cult, and they're prepping some weird ritual using hostages. Old Wang asks if Grandmaster Kyun is seriously gonna just sit there sipping tea instead of rushing to save his special student. To totally chill, veteran Chin takes a sip and says the kid already crushed the enemy, telling his buddy to believe whatever he wants. 3 whole days go by, showing another destroyed monster carcass lying on the forest floor. Leaning against a tree, our MC sighs in frustration, complaining he's killed tons of beasts but hasn't seen another cultist yet. The panel shows he's racked up a little over 800 points, way less profit than what dropping terrorists would pay out. Suddenly, a danger warning pops up on the system, making the boy snap his focus straight to the dark trees. Walking out of the shadows, a cultist woman shows up, praising the handsome rookie's sharp senses for spotting her. The invader says it's a shame things are bad, prepping an ice magic spell and letting him know he's gotta die now. With a fast move, the cultist fires a rapid barrage of sharp ice spikes straight at our hero. Sliding with total ease, the young fighter dodges the lethal attack without even trying. Radiating pure hype, the kid thinks it's awesome that his enemies are just showing up for free to hand him points. Our MC raises his hand and immediately summons the water dragon technique with a terrifying aura. A massive wave of pure water energy rushes forward to swallow the woman right in the middle of the woods. Desperate as the impact closes in, the cultist uses her red whip to try and slice the attack mid-air. But Su-hong pops up like a ninja right behind her, whispering in her ear that she showed up at the perfect time to drop the cult's base location. The hero gives a violent yank with his weapon, dragging the enemy's body backwards, showing zero mercy. Getting launched into the air, the woman panics, completely unable to grasp what kind of monstrous strength this is. Still airborne, our MC charges up ghostly flames and summons the feared fire punch straight at the target. The brutal hit smashes into the ground, crushing the cultist with ridiculous violence and kicking up tons of dust. With his spear tip pinned against the downed enemy's throat, he demands to know exactly where the cult's main base is immediately. Coughing up red, the woman begs for her life and spills that the camp is 10 kilometers north of there. Pressing the weapon, the boy keeps up the interrogation, asking how many martial artists got sent on the mission. Terrified, she confesses they've got 3 rank 3 fighters and a dozen rank 2 warriors in the squad. Su-hong does some quick math, figuring he already took out 2 heavy hitters, meaning clearing out the rest will easily pay out enough points for him to evolve. Out of nowhere, the woman screams in rage and undergoes a freakish mutation, sprouting wings and warning the kid he underestimated her and is gonna pay. Gliding around full of arrogance, the cultist brags that her strength just doubled and is more than enough to completely shred him. Bathed in intense lightning, our hero declares the cult has committed way too many sins, and he isn't letting a single one of them walk out alive today. With a terrifying explosion of electricity, he vaporizes the woman mid-air, demanding she just hand over her points already. The panel quickly confirms he got the prize, leaving the fighter super happy with the easy payout. The scene switches, showing the demonic cult's sacrifice base, built out of ancient pyramids hidden in the valley. Surrounded by terrorists, the hostage students realize they got played and that the enemy goons actually aren't that strong. But the hope dies fast when the massive blood commander points his finger and orders the total massacre of the kids. The lackeys charge in bloodthirsty, screaming that they hate human geniuses and are gonna peel their skin off as a sacrifice. Standing back to back, the 3 prodigies gear up for the final fight, promising to drag the enemies to the grave with them. Far away on the mountain peak, Grandmaster Kyun watches it all and praises the impressive guts of the Hangzhou elite. Master Wang agrees, thinking their stance is admirable, but suggests letting things get a little hotter before jumping in to save them. Dripping with confidence, veteran Kyun states, chilly, that neither of them will need to dirty their hands today. Pointing at the sky, he reveals his little monster is already dropping straight into the battlefield to save the whole squad. Annoyed by the cockiness, Wang asks what his buddy's been drinking to think a beginner student can take on rank 3 fighters. Back in the arena, one of the prodigies blocks a heavy attack and yells at his friends to fall back, swearing that if they go down together. The giant commander fires a brutal, reddish shockwave, declaring that absolutely nobody is making it out of there alive. In the blink of an eye, our MC pops up like a dark blur in the smoke, blocking the entire zone. The villain's cowardly charge misses the target and smashes into the stone floor, causing nothing but useless destruction. Right after, one of the cult goons gets violently launched and pinned to a tree by the hero's spear. The terrorists freeze their attack in pure shock, looking around desperately for whoever pulled that off. Bathed in golden lightning, Su-hong rushes through the gang like a thunderbolt and buries his fist into a cultist's face. Without losing a drop of momentum from that ridiculous speed, the boy crushes another enemy with a terrifying electric knee strike. Spinning his body in a lethal dance, our MC stacks even more electrical power into his hands. An unforgiving rain of lightning palms gets fired at the group, smashing through the enemy defenses all at once. The lackeys dropped all around him, the hero sticks a stylish landing, and chilly asks the hostages if they're good. The students recognize him immediately, totally blown away that he just wiped out rank 3 warriors with the snap of his fingers. Watching from up high, Wang starts panicking when he sees the kid used healing magic to attack and already broke through to rank 2. Overflowing with pride, Master Kyun nods, thinking the growth rate of his student, who showed up at camp as a newbie, is absolutely hilarious. Down at the base, Su-hong steps up to the front line and tells the whole genius squad to run away first while he holds it down. One of the guys says thanks but warns him to watch his back against the dozen advanced warriors scattered around the area. The kid's eyes shine with pure greed as he calculates the insane payout, staring at the villains like they're a literal goldmine. Furious over his gang getting wiped out, the Blood Commander charges in like a bulldozer, cursing the hero and promising to crush him. The giant jumps, dropping a colossal reddish punch aimed at turning the rookie into dust right on the spot. But Su Hong just takes a simple step back, casually dodging the massive impact that only shatters the dirt for no reason. Calling next, the fighter ignores the boss and sinks his electric hand into the chest of another cultist walking by. The rest of the terrorists back up shaking with absolute terror, begging the kid not to get any closer to them. One of the mercs runs for his life up the pyramid stairs, screaming for the boss to save them from that terrifying monster. Taking a huge breath, the giant commander starts absorbing all the heavy energy hanging around him. The villain raises his arms amidst the fallen bodies, promising their sacrifice won't be forgotten, and that this is all for the greater good. Just then, Su Hong notices something super weird and spots the blood of the dead beasts literally floating in the air. The dark liquid flies straight toward the ancient pyramid, leaving the kid totally confused by the bizarre setup. Bathed in a dark red aura, the cult commander goes into a trance while our hero figures out this is the actual sacrifice. Suddenly, a pair of golden wings bursts from the enemy's body as he disrespects the human race with pure disgust. Showing off his new, arrogant angel form, the celestial being demands to know why nobody dropped to their knees in his noble presence. Without waiting for an answer, the winged monster drops from the sky like a golden meteor, tearing through the air straight for the battlefield. Instead of being scared, our MC gets hyped thinking about how many ridiculous points he's gonna score for taking down a real celestial. Staring down the kid from above, the villain calls the hero an ant and asks who gave him permission to even look up. Taken over by divine rage, the winged monster fires a fast attack, announcing the rookie is gonna pay for his disrespect with his life. Our MC's eyes go wide in surprise, mentally admitting the speed of that charge is seriously terrifying. Using his insane reflexes, he brings up his spear shaft and blocks the heavy hit, sending a shockwave through the yard. The crash impact is so violent it shatters the rocks around them under the crushing pressure of the two forces colliding. Finding the block pretty interesting, the Celestial is impressed a talent like this exists among the human youth. Sliding back from the clash, the boy checks his own hand and admits the physical strength of this race is ridiculously heavy. Floating with a superior vibe, the villain confesses he only planned to wipe out the human trash, but decides to eliminate the hero now to avoid future headaches. Suddenly, the angel's face starts cracking, and he curses the weak human body that's already falling apart before hitting level 4. Ignoring the damage, the Celestial boils with golden energy, guaranteeing that peak level 3 is more than enough to crush the kid. Putting the pieces together fast, our MC realizes the enemy isn't a real divine being, just a possessed human breaking under the pressure. Totally confident, the boy says the fight is still anyone's game and summons the Thunder Punch with an aggressive lightning storm. The two clash in a crazy, high-speed exchange of electric hits and brutal punches that wipe the entire arena in the blink of an eye. Watching from afar, Master Wong praises the angel's defense, but Kyun claps back, saying the real crazy part is his own student's bizarre power level. The veteran is mind blown seeing the rookie pressure a mythical creature just throwing hands, even though he's a whole level below the opponent. Down below, the winged villain eats a clean punch right in the middle of the fast brawl and can't hide his panic facing that monstrous strength. Exploiting the perfect opening, our MC sinks his fist for real, violently launching the divine body to the other side of the ruins. Skidding across the rocks, the monster demands to know the kid's physical build. Outraged, he got forced back by a mere human in pure brute strength. Flexing his cockiness, the hero asks if the enemy is already gassed out and invites him to fight head-on, wanting to test his own limits even more. Bathed in the red aura of the Overlord's body, he celebrates that he finally doesn't have to hold back his strength, worrying he'll accidentally take someone out. Staring at the broken angel, the fighter complains the enemy's vessel is way too fragile, wishing he could fight the real body for a proper challenge. Eaten up by pure humiliation, the angel completely loses his cool and screams, offended at being treated like trash by a regular human. He raises his hand to the sky and summons a giant magic circle, announcing he's gonna use the legendary power of the divine treasure. Multiple golden portals rip open in the air, firing fast holy spears with a killer intent that feels completely overwhelming. Sliding super fast through the attacks, the boy hears the villain state he's the only one who ever pushed him to use this ultimate trick. Dodge, the panel beeps, warning that the enemy's technique can't be copied, leaving the hero shook by this brand new restriction. Up on the mountain, the masters panic, recognizing the race's innate skill, and figure the enemy comes from a super noble bloodline. Master Wong begs to step in before the genius gets killed, but Old Kin stays chill, saying to wait for his student's ultimate attack. Annoyed by the stubbornness, the local leader is shocked to hear the rookie has perfect affinity and mastered insane fusion since stage 1. Cranking up the glow on the divine weapons, the winged monster admits that if the kid keeps leveling up, he's gonna be an absolute nightmare in the future. Showing zero mercy, he drops the relentless golden storm, dealing the final death sentence to the human prodigy. Staring down the rain of death falling from the sky, our MC plants his feet on the stone ground, prepping his own lethal counterattack. With his eyes sparking electricity, he coldly says the angel is also the first one to force him to fight completely serious. The young fighter channels his absolute limit into his weapon and announces he's breaking out the third and most dangerous form of his special combat style. Putting his weight into his stance, he fires the spear in a monstrous beam that explodes, ripping through the clouds to intercept the divine judgment. The two colossal forces smash together, setting off an apocalyptic explosion that lights up the whole valley with golden flashes and brutal lightning. The celestial being is totally shook and frozen while his ultimate technique gets crushed by the newbie's colossal charge. With his face melting from the insane pressure, the villain screams in rage, refusing to accept that his divine power just failed like that. A pillar of pure energy mercilessly wipes out the angel, causing a violent boom that clears the whole arena in a blinding wave of destruction. When the flash finally dies down, all that's left are burnt pieces and ashes of the defeated villain's body scattered in the ruins. Right in the middle of the giant crater of busted rocks, the hero stands tall holding his spear as the one and only winner of the brawl. The system beep with a massive point bonus, the kid feels super satisfied, admitting that hunting that fake angel was incredibly profitable. Suddenly, old Kin comes sprinting over, totally relieved, calling the kid his precious, beloved treasure of humanity with zero shame. Master Wang almost loses his mind with hype over the crazy win, while the young guy doesn't get all the drama just for crushing a fake angel. On the flip side, the rookie thinks seriously about how he got pushed to the limit by a regular member, meaning the geniuses of that race must be terrifying. Catching the masters looking shocked, the kid agrees, thinking beating a low-tier celestial really isn't worth a party, leaving the old dudes completely speechless. After the whole crisis, time skips 4 days, covering the traditional military pavilion where the special camp is finally wrapping up. Staring at the scoreboard where Su-hong is dominating by a mile, a salty student complains that a mere beginner could never do that without straight-up hacking. Hearing the gossip, the brute defends our hero, yelling that the kid folds even veteran warriors with one single ridiculous hit. Not seeing the MC in the yard, the class asks where he is, and they quickly find out the camp leader is teaching him magic personally. Outside the room, the local master grumbles, terrified by the kid's learning speed, while old Kin laughs and tells him he'll get used to it soon. Inside the private dojo, the MC meditates silently in the middle of the room, focusing his spirit on the new healing technique. A green glow wraps his skin, closing up old wounds, and he praises the absolute broken power of erasing even ancient scars. Checking the interface, the fighter plans to dump his points to hit mental strength level 2 and completely juice up his vital energy at the same time. Far away in deep space, angelic clouds cover the majestic, colossal architecture of the divine temple on the celestial race's home planet. Kneeling in the golden hall, a servant gets interrogated about the unacceptable disgrace of losing to a lower-level human brat. Shaking slightly, the angel confirms the story and tries to excuse the pathetic fail by insisting that this specific kid is a total freak of nature. The divine leader summons the elite warrior, who steps out of the hall's shadows with a cold vibe to answer his lord's call. Ruthless, the commander decides the human kid is going to be a massive problem, issuing a kill-on-sight order to wipe out the threat ASAP. Bowing his head slightly in a gesture of fatal respect, the elite hitman takes the mission, swearing he'll handle this problem flawlessly. The boss also asks about the pieces of a legendary artifact, ordering them to hunt for the relic in enemy territory without raising any red flags. Back at the Star City camp, the fierce roar of a violent, giant bear shatters the dead silence of the isolated sim chamber. The brute ruthlessly attacks the giant beast with his flaming punch, aggressively crushing the wild creature's carcass. In the yard, the students notice that the elite trio completely lost their minds with intense training after taking that humiliating beatdown from the newbie. Blowing their valuable points on rare items, the squad locks themselves in the combat rooms and manages to pull off the terrifying feat of leveling up incredibly fast. Even the rich kid packs on a ton of muscle, screaming like a wild animal, totally locked in on leveling up to pay back the L they took. Super confident, the elite trio eagerly waits for the hero to get back so they can run it back for a rematch. Right then, Grandmaster Chun finally returns to the camp, walking solo through the area. The instructor immediately asks about the kid, and the veteran explains he wanted to stay and grind a little longer in the woods. Worried, the guy points out the camp ends in a few days, but Kyun promises the boy isn't stupid. 2 days roll by, and a giant snake is chilling at the top of a rocky cliff. Su-hong is still deep in meditation, farming dozens of mental points nonstop. The wild beast spots the kid and launches a violent strike, trying to eat him in a surprise attack. Keeping completely cool, our MC just raises his hand, unleashing a strong, glowing energy. The monster freezes completely in mid-air, caught under the effect of the invisible containment magic. Super relaxed, the fighter summons his spiritual weapon condensation technique to test drive his new toy. A giant sword of pure golden light spawns in the air, controlled by literally nothing but his mind. The spiritual blade spins, slicing the wind with terrifying, ridiculous speed. Without breaking a sweat, the weapon sinks into the creature, slicing the snake's tough carcass right then and there. The boy thinks the destructive power of a level 2 mental class is honestly pretty scary. Bathed in different energies, he notices his mental rank up now lets him fuse 3 attributes all at once. Flames, thunder, and metal together, the energies clash and get super unstable in his hands. The repelling force goes totally out of control, causing a dangerous flash right in our hero's face. A devastating explosion tears up the zone, tossing giant rocks everywhere. Walking out of the smoke, the rookie coughs covered in dust, figuring out that even a misfire hurts a level 4 warrior. After the mess, he grabs his weapon and takes a chill walk back to the military base. The second our hero steps into the camp, the crowd immediately starts yelling to warn the brute that he's back. Grandmaster Kyun crosses his arms, asking if the trio is really that sure they're gonna win this time. Flexing their arrogance, the Prodigy squad guarantees they're gonna completely fold the boy. Rolling up to the training arena, the rookie stares down the big guy, asking if the challenge is for real. The brute flexes his muscles, announcing all 3 of them hit level 2 and he can easily solo him now. Acting super casual, our MC stutters a bit, trying to explain his current situation. Unleashing a monstrous red aura, the kid reveals he also hit level 2 during his trip. The trio goes into shock, but the girl stands her ground, stating she's also an advanced spiritual reader. Su-hong doesn't even waste his breath and quickly summons his weapon condensation art right in the sky. A colossal sword of light drops with full force, making the entire courtyard shake. Caught off guard, the young spiritual reader gets blasted backward by the wind from the strike. Our MC stops the giant blade just inches before it crushes the trio, and apologizes for the jump scare. Bathed in mental power, he casually drops that he also became a level 2 spiritual reader. The squad sweats bullets, absolutely terrified when they add up all the kids' stolen skills on top of such a high power level. Looking up at the stands, our hero suggests the rest of the class jump into the brawl so he can farm more points. Gripping his spear like a boss, he calls out the entire camp for a head-on fight. Rich taps out immediately, while the rest of the crowd desperately begs him not to get any closer. Watching from afar, the instructor complains the Grandmaster hid the boys' spiritual magic from them. Old Kin is left totally speechless, considering he also had absolutely zero clue about this hidden talent. Soon enough, the veteran busts out laughing, celebrating that humanity just struck gold finding a once-in-a-millennium monster. Though with the students getting trashed, the instructor asks if they should step in, but Chun thinks it's great to let the youth burn some energy. Suddenly, the old leader looks up, feeling a heavy aura tearing through the sky over the military base. The colossal golden eagle flies over, screaming that the 30 days are up and telling the humans to get out. Surrounded by knocked-out students, our MC recognizes the giant monster from the windstorm on day 1. Floating up to the sky, Kyun releases an intimidating purple aura, letting the bird know his patience is officially gone. The veteran stares the creature down face to face, announcing they'll leave whenever they feel like it and take orders from nobody. Furious at the disrespect, the golden bird screams that it isn't scared of the Grandmaster at all. The beast fires an overwhelming, destructive beam that swallows the air straight toward the old man. Watching the exchange of hits, Su-hong swallows hard, feeling the insane heat from what looks like an actual battle of gods. The eagle tells the old man to back down, claiming to have some heavy backup, but Chun promises to fold the backup too. Out of nowhere, a booming voice commands them to stop fighting, leaving the military leader sweating bullets up in the sky. A massive, creepy shadow appears in the clouds, making the giant bird look like a helpless little bug. A terrifying red eye rips through the darkness, staring down the humans with killer pressure. The instructors go into full panic mode, recognizing the Lord of Monsters completely mind blown by the bird's connections. Our hero clenches his fists, feeling tense as he remembers that the minimum level for these beasts is way past the ridiculous rank 9.